What the fuck do you want?
Hello and welcome to What the Fuck Do You Want? And yes, I know, been a while, I've been saying that every time I come back, but I had to come back. It is the start of a new year, or a month into it, and we are going to look back at the cunts of the year of the previous 12 months. And I can't do this alone. There's only so much cunt one man can handle. So I had to get on a safe pair of hands. CaptainJSpaulding, how are we?
We're good. Hello. Happy New Year at the end of January and all that.
Yeah, ish. So, did mean to get us together to do this a bit earlier, but, you know, I'm low on inspiration and I'm not very organised, so I can only apologise to you because you're very annoyed about this.
I've been looking forward to it, to be fair.
It is somewhat therapeutic. I really enjoyed it last year. I wasn't sure if you were going to come back for it again.
I'm like Ricky Gervais for the Golden Globes. I couldn't possibly turn it down. Obviously, without the transphobia and being a huge cunt, but well, not as much anyway.
I don't think he got any votes this year. That's a shame. I should give you like a golden ticket so you can just slip one in wherever you want.
That's what she said. I have got an honorary mention, but it's kind of depressing more than funny.
Would you give it a number value and where you think it belongs in the list, and we can put it in there? Or do you just want to get it out of the way?
I think it belongs at as the winner because it's probably one of the worst things that I've ever heard. But I reckon we'll just slip it in because I didn't bother to actually make a submission, so I can't really complain. It's what's his chops? Giselle Pellico's husband, Dominique Pellico, the French lad that basically date raped his wife for like 20 years.
Yeah,
with, the whole village.
Talking to Lady Punk about this one. It's something out of a bad fucking horror movie.
Yeah, it's one of the most horrific cases I've ever heard. And like, I don't know what opposite of cunt of the year is, but Giselle Pellico deserves it because that woman is a bad bitch. Like, quite honestly, to like put herself out there for all of that.
Yeah, it's one thing for it to happen to you, but to go out openly to broadcast that to the public can't be an easy thing.
No, and to front those people every day in trial and everything, like she was there day in, day out staring at those motherfuckers. That couldn't have been easy. So like, no. Hats off. But also, I hope Dominique lives a long life so that he gets to spend a lot of it in prison because he's like 70. So I hope he gets to like 100, but just getting diddled in prison.
Yeah, maybe they can stick his brain in a jar and they can fist that.
It's France as well, so it'd be pickled in garlic.
Preserved in brine. Lovely.
Yeah, like a rapey caper.
I'm glad we don't have to name these episodes, but that would be a contender.
Rapey caper. That's got all sorts of connotations as well. That could mean anything. It's like a Scooby-Doo episode.
The rubber masked rapey caper. So yeah, spoiler, we didn't get votes for that, but Jesus Christ, that should have been up there.
It's definitely up there.
Oof.
I've only skimmed through this because I don't want to go into too much.
You don't want to spoil it for yourself?
I kind of want it to creep up on me a little bit, but there's one that I glanced at and I was already creasing up. It's about halfway down the list, so I'm quite looking forward to that one.
It's not me again, is it?
No. Well, you are in it, but no, it's not. It's someone else.
Right, well, we'll start off for anybody that didn't get listening last year. We will read out the ones that got the least amount of votes. So our ones, our twos, the pathetic cunts of the year, and we'll work our way up to the most voted for, eventually getting to a winner.
King Cunt.
The cunt of the year. So the first one from an anonymous coward. Whichever cunt thought it'd be a good idea to start nominating cunts of the year in January. People forget about cunts during the year. I wanted to start it right away. I forgot to do it this year because it felt a bit bad starting cunt of the year 2025 before this was done. But yeah, this is how I got most of my news this year. I get the form submissions and it's like, oh, such and such. I say, oh, what the fuck do they do? Check the news. Oh, what a cunt. I'll stick them on the list. Would you like the next one?
Again with one vote. Badenoch, middle class to working class. Cammy Badenoch had a cunt of the year moment when she declared that she became working class after securing a job at McDonald's as a teenager. It's a nice petty politician story to start the year off with. Whoever sent this in, I had a brief stint in security as an incredibly angry teenager, and that didn't temporarily make me James Bond, stupid cunt. She told Chopper's political podcast with Christopher Hope that her time at McDonald's was the first time I ever interacted properly with people who didn't come from the sort of background that I came from.
Yeah, a valid vote.
I think that's fair. I mean, I've got a feeling she's going to pop up a lot in this year's to be. She's got plenty of time to work her way up.
This is the worst thing about it, because we will be talking about people that have done things since. I say, but technicalities. Cunt of the year 2025, you can't judge them by tomorrow. I say, yeah, I can.
Maybe we have to do a cunt of the year addendum show or something.
After that, I'm guessing this one's from Gadget, because he did start to frequent Belfast. Belfast traffic is cunt of the year with 1 vote. The worst collection of cunts I've ever been stuck around. Constantly in splitting, queuing where you shouldn't, and cutting people off. Fucking learn to drive. You cunts. Fucking traffic. I mean, we've moved past blowing cars up. You think you'd be a bit grateful?
Yeah, at least you're not worried that the car in front of you is going to spontaneously explode as much anymore.
It's Teslas do that for us now.
Yeah. Also, with a lone nomination for Cunt of the Year, Bethesda for wrecking Fallout London.
Yeah, this was a bit of a bad
when the
one.
Fallout TV show came out, when the Fallout TV show came out, everybody hopped back onto Fallout 4 because people don't realise how much they like games until TV alerts them to the fact. Bethesda anticipated this, and shortly after the release of the show, an update came out to bring it up to current gen settings. This, however, broke a lot of mods or made them incompatible. Mods are the lifeblood of Bethesda games and are the main reason that they have such long shelf lives. Fallout London, as the name implies, is a Fallout in London. A full game-size mod with familiar locations, voiced characters, and full quest lines. Problem is, it was ready to go until the update was announced. They announced a delay, hoping not to clash with Bethesda. When the mod was actually released, it was only compatible with certain older versions of the game. I know a lot of Fallout fans, and they gave up trying to get it to run. Couple of people on various podcasts submitting that.
Yeah, this was a bit of a shame one. I'd love an excuse to blow up London as much as the next person. But yeah, they spent years working on this, and when it finally came up to release, and it's like, oh, the TV show's out, everybody's trying Fallout for the first time. God, this feels like synergy. Everything's just coming together. And then, yeah, free update, fucked everything. It became an absolute ball ache to try and install.
Yeah, I did. I also went back to the Fallouts when the show came out and had fun with it. And I was like, oh yeah, maybe I can do Fallout London. It's like, yeah, not in any way possible, basically.
Oh, well, if you buy it off Good Old Games and install a version from 3 patches back, you might be able to... And I said, no, I just want to click a button and install it, please.
Yeah, it's too much effort.
After that, with another 1 vote, Billy Mitchell loses lawsuit. Cunt. So, a judge sided with Arcade Gamer in dispute over terms of settlement with Twin Galaxies. Billy Mitchell has been a cunt on the internet for a very long time. I think it's one of the first gaming meme stories I remember because he looks like a cunt. If you've ever seen him dress, you look at him. He is the definition of cunt. Smarmy cunt. Well, he held the Guinness Book World Record for Donkey Kong for the longest time. And when he lost the title, or if anybody got close to breaking his score, he'd come in and say that if you need to beat his score, you need to use the original hardware. You can't use any modifications. It had to be a specific version of the game. And these were all rules and settings that he didn't have to follow when he set the record. So people were of two minds whether he actually set the record or not. I'm sure he's great at Donkey Kong. I don't want to take that away from him, but he's not the best in the world, and it's been proved. Thank you, legal system. You finally got one right.
Another single nomination for something that's going to prove to be quite a theme, I think. Esther McVeigh for a Nazi poem. Tory MP told to... or I think former Tory MP at this point, told to get a grip for using Holocaust poem to criticise smoking ban. Poor smokers are the European Jews of World War II. Being asked to move so many metres away from doors is just as bad as the gas chambers. This is one I had to go back and remember what was done. I'd forgotten all about this one. Cunt.
Yeah, this is one I had to go check and make sure it was actually real.
Yeah, it was. I remember it at the time because Esther McVeigh is a very strange character generally. Because she was like wasn't she a TV presenter or something? And then she just went batshit fucking Tory.
Yeah.
I think she was the Minister for Woke or something at one point. If I'm not even joking, I think she went on
I thought
about
they
lanyards.
needed ministers against woke.
Yeah, that's probably where she went wrong.
One vote for this one, and I think we can all agree, God is a cunt for killing succulent Chinese meal man. One of the heavier losses of the year, yes, I agree.
Yeah, he was somewhat of a cult star.
Get your hands off my penis.
Am I a crowd for enjoying a meal?
I have seen him pop up in several things. I think he was in one of the chat's music videos too. It's just a treasure. Lost. Taken too soon. Thoughts and prayers.
Next, I'm guessing with one. Cunt from Cunt and the Gang. Nominative determinism at work. I don't think Cunt would care about being called the Cunt of the Year. I do think that only receiving one vote would irritate him slightly, especially in a year where the Shannon Matthews musical came out.
Yeah, I'm sure like being called a cunt when you call yourself cunt is just water off a duck's back.
I've called him cunt many a time at his shows. He was fine with it.
I assume he responds to it as if it's his own name. It kind of is, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be weird if he got offended, wouldn't it?
How dare you? I've come out to entertain you and you say the C word?
How dare you? My name's Steve or Jeff or whatever the fuck his name is.
It's pronounced cunt. But yeah, cunt from Cunt the Gang. Cunt. After that, another cunt. Luke Dolsk. Tiny hands. Hates cutscenes. Keeps drinking shit beer and trying to tell the Discord that he's drinking good stuff. Yes, Luke is a proper cunt that puts cream eggs up his bum without taking the foil off. He often remarks that they're a lot smaller than they used to be, but I just think his rectal cavity is getting bigger. Poor shit opinions, Dolsk.
I've got to wonder about the tin foil. Is it so I can eat it later, or...?
I don't know, maybe it's the sensation on insertion. Maybe it's just the noise.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know if there's an ASMR quality to inserting things in yourself.
I don't know. Does it work the same way if you chew on like tin foil? Because it gives you like a weird tingle if you've got fillings. Does it work like that up your arsehole? I
must ask Luke if he ever has got an arse filling.
Right, there you go. The internet's back. I will be dropping in and out at weird intervals for no reason, it seems, tonight.
Mining crypto.
I apologise. Downloading Sniper Elite, that seems to be fucking with my connection. So
at least I had the decency to wait until Citizen Sleeper was out tomorrow, although I don't like to date the show. Fuck.
Yeah, I mean, I should have thought of that on recording, but there we are.
Fuck it, it's only Cunt of the Year.
It's nothing. It's only the Golden Globes. Again, with one vote and no explanation, Mohammed Al-Fayed. So I'm going to speculate that it's all the rapes.
You'd like to think.
Rapes.
Yeah.
It's not just like overcharging for aftershave.
He parks in my spot outside the house. I think he's a cunt.
Yeah, so Mohammed Al-Fayed, rapey cunt.
Yeah. Probably should have put some notes in that one. Rapey cunt. Deserved vote. After that, Matt Hancock, which used to be a far more popular cunt. Only kind of squeezed in and seemed to come from like Armando Iannucci lines, which were stolen, where he was described as weaker than a nun's piss. Nicola Sturgeon in the same tweet was describing Suella Braverman as Shitler. And yeah, I know it's a joke, but I'll never turn down the chance to laugh at Man Hancock. He is a creepy human, an utter cunt. Oh yes, and Liz Truss got the fantastic line about being as useful as a marzipan dildo.
Yeah,
yes, you can tell I just wanted to read that out loud.
Yes. All of these people have since gone on to do stellar work. Northern Ireland woman spray painted Queen Victoria bust. That sounds like a Brass Eye headline. Let's try that again. Northern Ireland woman spray painted.
We've opened the wrong tab.
Northern Ireland woman spray painted Queen Victoria bust. A Belfast woman was charged after activists smear porridge on Queen Victoria bust and C words spray paint underneath. A woman from Belfast went and made Vicky sticky after giving her bust a jam and porridge coating. She also spray painted cunt under the statue for good measure. I know some people have a hard time understanding the Irish mentality when it comes to the royals. We hold grudges as tightly as pint glasses, but I for one was proud to hear a fellow child of Ulster got up to such creative shenanigans. But a vote is a vote, cunt. And there
Yes, there is a bit of regional pride with this one.
There's also a picture attached to this document of the bust of Queen Victoria covered in jammy porridge. It's quite fun.
After that, we got a vote for SNP cash donations. So I'm guessing it had to do with the Scottish Party's finances controversy.
Yes, I remember this well.
Yeah, so we didn't get any descriptions with the votes, but Scottish people are miserable thieving cunts, so I'd well believe it.
No comment.
It's all right for the Celt to say it.
Listen, my dad lives in Scotland, and my grandparents are from Cork. I am not getting involved in this kind of fucking green on blue violence.
I believe it. Look, I can get a passport. Trust me, I'm one of you.
Sycamore Gap tree cunt with one vote. Some cunt cut down a cool-looking tree that was in one of the Robin Hood films.
Bit of a cunt move, that. It was a cool tree.
It was a cool tree, right in the middle of Hadrian's Wall.
I think they did end up catching the people involved.
I believe it was an older gentleman and a young lad. I
Dirty
don't know
bastards.
why the fuck they did it. Yeah. Maybe he wanted to stick it up his bum or something.
Get some tinfoil around it. Yes, but tree chopping cunts. This next one, it pained me. Yuji Horii, the Dragon Quest creator, which is a game that I've played since I was a child. And they remade one of the old ones, Dragon Quest 3, last year. And instead of picking male and female options when picking your character, you had Model A and Model B.
Right.
Because, you know, we're living in the woke times and everything's bullshit. And, pronouns! So...
Insert clip of angry bald man screaming.
It's what I was going for, but I just can't get pathetic enough to do it properly. They had a bit of a moan. I took it as an old man shouts at clouds. Say, in the old days, we didn't have to worry about this. But then Elon Musk got his hands on it, retweeted it, and it kind of snowballed from there. And it's like, Dragon Quest is trending on Twitter in the UK. My fuck. What galaxy am I living in? And then when I seen why for gender politics, I said, fuck you. Just leave it alone. It's Dragon Quest. It's trending on Twitter in the UK. This should be a dream scenario. People might actually fucking play it now. I said, no, it's not going to be that. So, fuck. Yuji Horii. Can't. As much as it pains me.
Yeah, and I imagine we'll be talking about Musk a bit more as we go on.
Up to that, never. 2 or 3 votes at most.
Oh yes, this one. Oh dear. With 2 votes, the zoologist Adam Britton, the British crocodile expert Adam Britton, jailed for raping, torturing, and killing dozens of dogs. So right, I've got 2 votes, and it wasn't ringing any bells. Google provided the answer, and holy fuck, how are there only 2 votes for this absolute fucking cretin? Adam Britton, a zoologist based in Darwin, Australia, pleaded guilty to 56 charges of bestiality and animal cruelty at the Supreme Court of the Northern Territory in September of last year. There aren't enough steel-toed cap boots on the planet to deal with a cunt of this magnitude.
Yeah, I've had the internet for a long time. I've seen some horrible things, some amusing things. But yeah, don't hurt animals. That's the one thing.
Yep.
So,
there's a whole documentary called Don't Fuck With Cats.
So yeah, I didn't know what these submissions were about. Had a little Google. Holy fuck, I want to set this cunt on fire.
Yeah, this dude's a fucking monster.
Yeah. Speaking of fucking monsters, conservative betting scammers. Back in the year of 2024, the United Kingdom saw a general election betting scandal. And yeah, I had to go back and get the details about this one. It seemed that a couple of Sunak's fluffers found out the date of the elections and put money on it. And yeah, dear listener, you can't see the picture that's in front of us at the moment, but this is the one that cropped up in the news story. Look at the head in that cunt. I described it in the notes as it's like if that Willy Wonka experience in Glasgow decided to do a spin-off on The Grinch and couldn't afford green paint. What a terrible looking human.
I have to say that description is very fucking apt as well. Because I'm looking at the picture and I remember this guy. Because I remember posting at the time on our Discord that if you had to describe like smug thieving Tory, like that is the picture.
Yeah, it's like a fucking caricature of that, yeah.
Like, it really is. You couldn't do it any better. He looks like a fat, uglier Alain Bastard. If you remember that character, he's just got the biggest smug shit-eating grin in the fucking world.
That fucker goes to court. I mean, all you're going to have to do is, Your Honour, look at him.
Yes. Like, literally, his teeth are maybe only a fraction the size of his forehead. Like, there's not much in it. It's fucking insane. Like, if he introduced himself, "Hi, I'm a Conservative MP," your first response would be, "Yeah, of course you fucking are."
No shit.
No shit. And no, I'm not voting for you. Why are you touching my penis?
I know judo.
Speaking of smug Tory cunts, Jake Berry with 2 votes. So Jake Berry, the one of many very short-lived former chairmen of the Conservative Party, claiming that Trump will be better for America as Biden has been a disaster for the economy, despite that being demonstrably untrue, as well as being the cunt that thought Liz Truss would be brilliant. Also went on Twitter in the first week of January to whinge about supermarkets selling mini eggs. Vacuous Tory bald cunt. Had to Google this one. I remember the story, but not the cunt himself. Being a forgettable cunt is even worse than being a regular cunt. That's true, actually. There's nothing more tragic than a forgettable cunt.
Did think I was quite up to date with my cunts usually, but when I was tallying up all the names at the end of the year, say, sounds like a cunt, but I better go check.
He essentially looks like if testicular cancer became sentient. Quite proud of that one, if I'm honest.
Is this how you get your kicks? Just coming on here making fun of people's appearances?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm calling them cunts.
I don't just do it on here. I do it out the window.
Oh, school bus. That'll be full of ugly cunts. After that, Joey Barton. Joey Barton trial date set over alleged malicious posts. Yeah, this one didn't shock me. Ex-footballer is a cunt.
Yeah. Is he the one that put a cigarette out on a teammate's face 20 years ago?
I can't recall. Football's not my forte.
It's not mine.
As I've been corrected before.
I just remember being a cunt.
Well, with 2 votes, he is definitely a cunt.
He is. Also with 2 votes, Just Stop Oil Stonehenge. I fully support their message, but it's such a gang of little cunts. Yeah, I'm kind of with that.
I fall in that camp too, yeah. I get the point. It was... I am drawing a complete blank here when they threw the flower over that cunt getting married.
Oh, was it Osborne?
Osborne, yes. I was going through...
I mean,
I was going through all the cunts that I don't like in my head, like a Rolodex, and there's just too many in there.
Yeah, I mean, he only ruined the social safety net of the entire country for the last 14 years, so it's easy to forget him, to be fair.
Oh, yeah. Too much drinking. But he got a bit of flour. I was like, they've been destroying fucking paintings and slashing people's cars. And fucking slash Osborne.
Yeah.
Happy fucking wedding.
I could have supported an acid-laced milkshake on that particular day, I think. I could have got behind that. Especially if you remember some of the allegations that were going around on social media about him from what looked like a disgruntled ex or something.
So a bit of a battery acid blast milkshake. Oh, grow up. After that, Meet the Rees-Mogg show, which got 2 votes. The second Cunt of the Year show after your own. And these votes were how I learned this fucking thing existed. Who wants to watch this? Who thought this should have been made?
I suspect it had as many viewers as it did votes, to be fair.
Again, parody. This is why satire is dead.
Yeah, because I haven't seen it and I will not see it, but it feels like it would be a parody episode of a Christmas special of the BBC television show Ghosts, just watching a posh haunted pencil walk around his fucking mansion, annoying his children and touching up his nanny. Allegedly.
Can't. But yes, whoever made this show and the people that starred in it, including the children, I imagine, cunts.
So this one I knew was coming, but does pain me somewhat as a fan of his growing up.
Yeah.
A fan of his work, at least. With 2 votes, which is quite low considering what I've read recently.
Yeah,
Neil
I think
Gaiman.
the updates that came out, I closed this at the end of the year, and the updates came out earlier in January.
And were much worse than some of what had sort of come out earlier. Neil Gaiman's screen adaptations halted after allegations of sexual misconduct. No descriptions on the votes in this one, but I'd imagine they were in light of the allegations brought forward. I really hope that this isn't true, but always believe the victims and let the legal system do its thing. Just because you're a fan of the art doesn't mean the artist gets a free pass. Cunt. Roald Dahl hated Jews and Elvis was a paedophile. Just as an aside.
Just saying. I like my Roald Dahl books, but the day I learnt about some of his beliefs, that was a heavy day for me.
Yeah.
It's nothing fucking sacred.
No, not to plug another podcast on your fine show, but I've recently been listening to The Dollop on Edgar Allan Poe.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew some of what he was like, but yeah, he married a 14-year-old when he was like 32, and then she died of TB when she was 24, and just had a terrible life. He was kind of a douchebag, so yeah, never meet your heroes, kids. Let them die of fucking alcoholism.
This is just another thing. This makes emos worse. And after that, we had Philip Schofield with 2 votes and no written entries for this one. I wonder why he's here.
Was it because they pushed into the Queen's funeral? Was that it?
I think that is literally the bit that broke the career. The rest,
it really
people
was.
would have shrugged off. David Beckham fucking waited in line, and you couldn't.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't.
I think the only reason it came out is the guy that was involved in all of it and broke the story, I think, was willing to let it go. And then he saw that they pushed in line. And he was like, no, up with this. I will not put. You can finger me in production, but I'm not having this.
The rest
Allegedly.
we can abide.
Yeah, I think it was either the pushing in of the Queen's funeral or the fact that he had a completely consensual and legal but slightly iffy romantic affair with a young man who was working on this morning.
A family friend that some say ground. Thankful. I thought you were going for 2 pushing it in lines after another there.
No. I am very aware that it's very possible that someone could hear this, and I am not in a position to fight litigation.
Parody podcast. I think that covers it. And who have we got after that?
We have Russia with 2 votes.
And you're happy to take this one on?
Yeah, fuck it. What have Russia ever done to anyone that have criticised them?
Well, bought them tea.
Yep.
The English love tea.
They do love tea. They're quite apparently keen on Itsu as well. Russia with 2 votes. Haven't named themselves who nominated them, but pack it in, you shower of cunts.
Apt.
For numerous things, I think. They've got a lot to pick from.
I just like that even when I was compiling this list, you have entire countries that are waging war on other countries, and they get less votes than, say, fanboys on Twitter.
Yeah.
It's a great system.
Yeah, you've got more votes than Russia.
I try harder than Russia, to be fair.
That's true. I'm just hoping another country that's currently at war doesn't come up, because I don't want to tackle that one. That's all I'm saying.
You have to beep out a section of this.
Yeah. Planty sent it in, that's all I know.
Stig Baker, 2 votes. He smells of knob cheese, which, good reason to vote him a cunt. Now, I have known Stig for many years online. I have yet to meet him in person, but I always imagined he smelled lovely. And he looks like he gives good hugs. But if there ever is a meet-up, I shall report back and let you know on the status of knob cheese and its aroma in his vicinity.
Fair. More Stilton. For those of you that remember this man, he was a candidate for the Conservative leader at one point. Tom Tugendhat, military to tackle small boats. Genius wants to send big boats to battle little boats. Standing on the coast trying to shoot them just isn't enough anymore. I should also point out that while this was going on, Tugendhat was being flagged as the sensible candidate.
Yeah, it sounds very mild-mannered and no nonsense. Yeah.
And then bought into this just nuke the sea option.
He reminds me of the kind of guy, if he got a bit of black mold in between his bathroom tiles, he'd just punch them out.
Yeah.
And what a ridiculous surname. As somebody that has a ridiculous surname myself, that's ridiculous.
I've done him the service of saying it how I know it's supposed to be said, which is Tugendhat. But if I say it how it's spelt, it's funnier because it's Tugendhat.
Tugendhat? Tugendhat what?
Tugendhat, exactly. Tom's Tugendhat, is he? It's
he's
better with
fond
an
of
Irish
that.
accent. It's way better with an Irish accent.
Speaking of Irish accents, our next one. Tommy Robinson, open bracket, Irish citizen, close bracket, with 2 votes. Stephen Christopher Yaxley Lennon is Irish. Well, fuck me. Why does he hate asylum seekers that have a panache for terrorism so much, given his heritage?
I'm glad you wrote that
This
one.
really pissed my Weetabix. I used to mock the English for having this fucking specimen attached to them.
The thing is, if you don't realise that Little Tommy Tem Names is a fraud in every way at this point, I don't think there's any hope for you. like all of these fucking grifters, nothing he says can be taken seriously. Well, when it turned out that all the he pled guilty for his recent court case that he had just been grifting for funds to fund his defence, and I think he got like 150, 180 grand allegedly, and then went on a lovely holiday and then pled guilty. And these people will keep giving him money because they're fucking morons.
Well, you don't realise that he went to prison because he told the truth, which
No,
is a
he
terrible thing to go to prison for.
I mean, he literally went to prison for slander, which is the opposite of telling the truth.
I don't believe you.
I'd say Google it, but...
Oh, they've got that well covered by now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, glad any occasion I can to get Stephen Christopher Yaxley Lennon up and call him a cunt. I shall do it with glee. Cunt.
Even though he's a fellow countryman.
Yes, he's a fellow son of the urn.
So this will mean more to your audience than it does to me. But with 3 votes... Boogie lying about his cancer and threatening to kill himself on stream.
Yeah, I'm afraid this one has quite a lengthy note to it because I was aware of the story, and then it was one of those ones when I looked into it, I found about 10 mini documentaries about the guy on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
This is a long-standing spiral of livelihood.
Well, we shall get into it. Strap in, folks. Boogie2988, for anyone that doesn't know, is an online presence that got internet famous for playing a character called Francis, who was the worst stereotype of a gamer possible. An unhealthy slob with severe emotional issues who acted like a child and took no accountability for their actions. Now, Francis is more of a human being than Boogie will ever be. Pissed away multiple fortunes, being given more chances of redemption than George Best Sliver, his audience sends him donations to get his life back on the line. But he refuses to stop wasting money on prostitutes, collectibles, and bankrolling his squad of parasitic dweebs. It came to a head in 2024 after he announced he had cancer and began accepting donations for his treatment until somebody grilled him online about the type of cancer he had. Turns out he didn't. When caught in his lie, he threatened everyone around him, blamed the rest of his social circle, and as a last-ditch effort, threatened to slash his wrists live on stream. A truly prophetic figure. But people love a lolcow? A lolcow? Oh, lolcow, sorry, internet word. And will keep throwing money at him until he ends up in an early grave.
Yeah, I wasted far too much of my life learning about this fucking waste of skin.
It kind of reminds me of there's a scene in Chris Morris's Jam, where a doctor says he's the reason he's doing dirty talk on the phone as part of his job is to raise money for a girl with head cancer. And it feels very much like that to me. What kind of cancer have you got? Oh, I've got head cancer.
Oh no, that sounds terrible. That's the worst type of cancer.
Kind of cancer.
And after that, and this is one of those ones that, yeah, they were a cunt last year. They've continued to be a cunt this year. I think the votes were just for last year. Brewdog boss James Watt steps down from CEO role. And this one was attached one of the votes were in relation to living wages.
Mm-hmm.
So the votes came with posing as punks while behaving worse than the Tories, cunts, and James Watt is a fucking cunt. Which, yeah.
Can't argue.
No, definitely not. And again, cut-off point, I think, saved him getting a few more points because he has recently made a cunt of himself once again. Just a horrible fucker through and through.
I was going to bring that up, yeah.
Are we spoiling next year's episode?
I mean, I've got a feeling this one's going to be a two-parter.
You're still on the fucking 3 votes?
I know, that's why I'm thinking this might be a two-parter. Yeah, James Watt most recently said that the work-life balance is overrated and people should just get their nose to the grindstone and work hard after taking like a month off on a luxury location. So absolutely fuck that cunt. Do we need an explanation? There isn't, but do we need an explanation for this next one? So also with 3 votes, Captain Tom's cunt daughter, brackets family, close brackets. This was, I'm sure everyone will know the story of the daughter of Captain Tom, the old man who walked around his garden a bunch during lockdown to raise money for charity, sort of became a national hero for a little while.
Yeah, then, lovely, uplifting story.
Yeah, really nice. And then did the best thing you can do to end that story and die before anything bad come out. But basically, his daughter and husband and other members of the family set up a charity fund that was meant to kind of set up a nice thing in his name. And they basically used it to build a big spa on their house for themselves that was open because of legal kind of requirements. The only way they could do it is they had to open it to the public for a set period of time. And they found out the least they could get away with was for like 6 hours, 1 day a year.
Yeah.
And they used basically people's contributions to build that. And then they were found in contempt and guilty of it. And they've got to bulldoze it. So good. Fuck them.
Good. Shower of cunts. Speaking of shower of cunts, Cargo's Moo with 3 votes. The stupid twat went and got himself all disabled, and now he's on the taxpayer's heroin that he won't share. It's sad to see a former international level drinker reduced to being wheeled about like a vegetable. Selfish cunt. Another voter said, was on fantastic painkillers and didn't offer to share any. Selfish. Yes, for anybody that doesn't know, Cargo's Moo is the long-suffering moderator of What the Fuck Do You Want's Discord and has been on episode 69, and indeed, it was nice. And yeah, it's safe to say he had a pretty rough year of it last year, and he seems to literally be back on his feet. I personally have a lot of respect for a man that can go through quite a dire spell and still retain his sense of humour and wit. And yeah, you didn't catch him moping a lot, but we do have 3 votes in for him being a cunt, and that can't be ignored and have to be counted. As much as I love him, he's still a cunt.
I would like to point out that giant belly laugh was not for his awful misfortune, but for the fact that no one can fucking destroy you as well as friends can, because that was clearly coming from someone who loves him, but fucking hell, that was brutal.
Yeah, it's a special family in the What the Fuck Do You Want Discord. Horrible cunts.
I'm an adoptive child at this point, but yeah, it can be quite unforgiving at times. Okay, so with 3 votes again, CrowdStrike. On the 19th of July 2024, American cybersecurity company CrowdStrike distributed a faulty update to its Falcon sensor security software that caused widespread problems with Microsoft Windows computers running the software. As a result, roughly 8.5 million systems crashed and were unable to properly restart in what has been called the largest outage in the history of information technology and historic in scale. This shut down offices, airports, and left those disgusting touchscreens at McDonald's even more useless than the people that use them. Only lasted a few hours until they were able to roll it back and right the ship, but it did put the world on a bit of a standstill.
Yes, I have talked to a few nerds that are stuck in the IT division when this was happening. Not a good time had by any. CrowdStrike. Cunts.
Cunts.
After that, Dublin/New York portal cunts with 3 votes. OnlyFans, drugs, and 9/11 taunts. Dublin to New York portal taken offline over inappropriate behaviour.
Oh, fuck, I remember this.
Yeah, this is brilliant. I never got up to see it. I wish I had. I would have given it a windmill. In a bid to connect two cities 3,000 miles apart, a big live webcam and display were set up in New York and Dublin, ultimately leading to the Irish and American trading famine and 9/11 jokes and flashing each other. A true display of what the early internet was like and how we behave at a base level as a species.
Yeah, it was a thing of beauty. It's just people mooning, getting their tits out, fucking... Oh, it was awesome.
I think the time difference didn't help, so when you had people out doing their shopping in New York, you had people crawling home from the pub in Dublin.
Yeah. Yeah, all those people that in New York like to be claimed to be Irish were in for a fucking shock of their lives. Seeing all the Irish night drinkers just with their bollocks up to the portal.
It is quite a sight. I feel sorry for anybody that came up with it. We are a lovely people when we're sober.
Again, we've got so far to go. With 3 votes.
Fuck, the man bored already.
And the man that needs little introduction, Lee Anderson, or Leanderfol, as many of us like to call him, coming from a tweet which Cunt has been kind enough to attach here. Oh, balls. Sorry, just skip all the way to the top of the document.
Episode over.
Yeah, bye. Jessica M on Twitter said that women deal with periods, pregnancy and menopause. What do men have to deal with? To which Lee Anderson MP, very piffily, I'm sure he thought, replied, try the Battle of the Somme. Because obviously he was there.
I hate that we have to go through that every month.
Yeah. Oh, I hate having to lose our finest generation every single month.
You wake up and realise you left home without your trench knife, and it's like, well, what do I do now?
Oh no, I haven't got any dry socks. Apparently, the Battle of the Somme is something all men deal with that's worse than a woman's period. Cunt can barely roll out of bed without hitting a shade of burgundy you'd normally see. I'm not going to get through that one. Let me try that again. Cunt can barely roll out of bed without hitting a shade of burgundy you'd normally see after applying a tourniquet to the head of your cock for 3 days.
Do you think that was another Dean one?
I don't know. I read it before and I almost lost my shit then, and I knew I was going to struggle with it because the imagery is just too fucking perfect. Fucking hell. That one got me.
Oh, what's wrong? Is it your time of the Somme?
Yeah, it reminded me of one of my dear friends who got his cock blown off by a German mortar.
Oh, poor man. You got it so hard.
Poor Charlie, we miss him. Or Ginger, or I don't know.
Ginger Charlie. Cockless Ginger Charlie.
Knobless, factless Ginger Charlie.
Well, we've actually cracked on to the 4 votes now. So we're moving down the list at a steady pace. Hollow Knight Silk Song for not releasing 4 votes. Votes include Team Cherry are cock-teasing bastards. On Valentine's Day 2025, it will be 6 fucking years since this game was announced. Cunts. Yeah, agreed. It has been a wee while.
I think this is going to be like Elder Scrolls 6. Like, you're going to get the sequel to the game like 7 years after the trailer to the game came out.
It was meant to be DLC. We all thought it was coming like a year later.
Another man that barely needs introduction. With 4 votes, Hugh Edwards. And I am putting quotation marks ahead of all of these statements for legal reasons.
I am reading them out. These are not my opinions.
The opinions contained within are not those of the hosts.
Well,
no, at least not this one, anyway. Pedo nonce, Welsh nonce, the worst type of nonce, fucking nonce.
Bit of a theme here.
Yeah, fucking impressive coordination with our voters on this one. One that got a few votes but little feedback. Again, beats Russia.
Hugh Edwards is worse than Russia.
It's worse than Russia, as is Cow Goes Moo. Hugh Edwards was convicted for various Nazi activities. Pretty much got off with it as he was given a 6-month sentence, suspended for 2 years instead of having a firework shoved up his Mickey. A well-deserved place on the list. Should have been higher.
Well, we'll move on from one nonce to another. JD Vance, 4 votes. Now, I had heard the name come up a lot with the Rogan podcast, but these votes were much earlier than that, and they weren't fond of his anti-trans rhetoric.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it's just his connection with Trump or the position he has that made people vote for him. Was there anything especially cunty he did last year?
He did go and double down on the eating cats and dogs line.
Yes.
When debating in the vice presidential debate, he was fact checked for talking utter bollocks, and then said we agreed there would be no fact checking on this, which demonstrates that
you can prove anything
there.
with facts.
Yeah, which demonstrates that you went on there to fucking lie, because that's what they do. And allegedly fucked a couch. That bit isn't true, but it is very, very funny.
If I knew that, I would have put couchy in the notes. Fuck.
Allegedly fucked a couchy.
Who the fuck would fuck a couchy? And yes, I put the cross-dressing picture in notes just for a cheap laugh.
Yes, because those who scream loudest, etc., etc.
Indeedy.
Oh, I wonder why she's here. With 4 votes, J.K. Rowling. If this cunt spent less time writing thinly veiled tweets and more time working on her next book, well, she'd have another turd in her hands. At least she can go back to milking the boy that lived again. Arrest her? She should be fired out of a fucking cannon. These votes came from April, when Rowling took a stand against Scotland after they announced their new hate speech, which had been recently implemented at the time. This bravado wouldn't last all year, as her legal team went through her profiles, deleting certain messages. This all happened during a rare spell where the Sometimes author shut the fuck up on social media and didn't post for an extended period of time. Olympic gold medalist and not an author past her creative prime, Imani Khalif has filed a lawsuit against the cyberbullying and misogyny during her time competing at the Olympics from individuals such as the creatively bereft Rowling. She has also more recently come out in defence of a certain South African billionaire.
Oh, of course.
So, solidifying her credentials, as it were.
It's another one. I did enjoy the Harry Potter books when I was younger and hadn't read many other books, like most people that enjoy Harry Potter. But, I can't. Hateful human.
Yeah, it seems to be that when you've got loads of money and surround yourself with people that tell you things you want to hear, you sort of lose track of reality and start to think you're important. It's weird, that, isn't it?
It is strange, that. I wonder if anybody else has ever noticed that at any time
I know.
In the past.
I should be a comedian. I'm just noticing things.
Do you ever notice rich people are cunts? He's saying what we're all thinking.
There's a reason kings had jesters. They didn't last very long, but they had them.
Oh yeah, they were good for a little while. Until another one came along.
Yeah, until you called the king a fat bastard.
After that, we have Nigel Farage, who is in the Ra. 4 votes. Now, it's given the frog-faced cunt is going to appear at some stage because it is Cunt of the Year, and he is a year of the round cunt. No particular reasoning given in the votes, and the dates didn't seem to line up or sync up with anything in the news. So sometimes a cunt is just a cunt no matter the time of the year.
Yeah. I don't think you can narrow him down to one specific event.
No, I mean, you put any date. Was Nigel Farage a dick on this date? Yes. It says yes for every single fucking day. Even on Christmas.
He's the obnoxious cunt equivalent of an evergreen. Basically, like, he's just always there. He's a perennial.
Gets dumped outside houses, never picked up because nobody wants them.
I wish I could dump that cunt outside my street. Just leave him battered against the tree. Yeah.
All covered in tinsel and decorations. Oh, yeah.
There we go. Yeah, battered against a tree.
I hope you enjoy that fucking game when it's downloaded.
To be fair, it's not just this. I've been recording with Dean recently and it keeps fucking doing it to me and I don't know why. I think it just doesn't like me podcasting.
Fucking London internet. Ugh.
Yeah, I know. Like, it's obviously me. I'm the problem. Oh yeah, I'm going to guess there's a few of the listeners that will like this one. AI artists that cry about having their art stolen, with 5 votes. Rolled a few different entries into one here. There have been a lot of people that created art, music and literature with AI tools, and they're outraged for having their work stolen, despite their tools literally being composed of stolen assets from actual artists. Not a bit pity. Get fucked. Cunts. Yeah, I'm with that. And also as an addendum, I quite like the fact that I think Nvidia are attempting to sue the Chinese AI company that just released for infringing on their intellectual property, which is literally made up of everyone else's fucking intellectual property.
There was a point in time during the year, I don't know if you collect Funko Pops, you don't look like the type.
I have all the horror ones, basically. I've got a few.
You loser.
I know. I will show you my cabinet of curiosities in a minute when we're off air. There's a lot of shit in there.
I'll
Living
walk
dead
you
dolls
around the mansion.
Yeah, well, it's a one-bed flat. It won't be much walking about. The Living Dead dolls, Funko Pops, you name it.
So Funko Pop at one stage during the year, they started up a campaign where they used AI to stop anybody encroaching on their product. And their product is a blank little sprite with two beady eyes.
Yeah.
So you saw the AI take down a lot of indie video games, a lot of blank artwork, a lot of basically anything.
They must have took down fucking Hollow Knight too.
Yeah, it's just the whole fucking thing. It just
Jack Skellington. They took down Disney.
You don't actually have what we would call a unique product. In fact, your product is just a lot of other properties.
Yeah.
How the fuck are you hoping to take this down? So that's the kind of way I look at the Nvidia.
So what you've uncovered is Funko Pop was just AI, but vinyl.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, they are the NFTs in physical form.
Essentially, that's fair.
After that, we have Asmongold. I hate streamers. I absolutely hate them. So, Twitch streamer suspended after Palestinian rant. Voters said, man that doesn't know how to wipe his own arse calls victims of genocide an inferior culture. I'd tell him to take a look in the mirror, but the mould probably makes that impossible. Another voter said, Asmongold has said that if Palestine was as well equipped with weapons and missiles as Israel, they would be using them in the exact same way. If my granddad had a twat, he'd be my granny. Actually, my poor granddad is neglected in a rundown nursing home that still manages to look more inviting than Asmongold's house. Streamer goes full Nazi. Follows up the next day with, my bad.
Seems to be a lot of that going around at the minute.
Yeah, just a little bit. Maybe do a little bit of homework before you call everybody a cunt, I say, ironically. So this was another one. I woke up and every time somebody fills out the Google form, I get email notifications. When you get the same person a few times in the same day, you're like, whoa, well, something's happened. So I was aware of this guy. I always thought he was a bit on the harmless side. Hygienically disgusting. I think we shared him in the Discord before when he recoiled from drinking water because apparently the fucking build-up of gingivitis and bacteria on his teeth makes water taste bad. So, bit of a strange study. I mean, shut-ins used to at least annoy themselves and nobody else, but now shut-ins, given technology, are kind of thrust into the world and become quite popular figures for it. I don't understand the world anymore.
No, I haven't understood it for a while, but you add internet wankers into it and I'm completely lost.
Yeah. And then I did read that he has drank his own piss out of McDonald's cups before, but I don't know if that's a joke or if that has happened. Given the figure, I could believe it. I will believe it. I'll say it's true.
He does look like if Andrew WK set himself on fire.
Very much so. I think I had gingivitis Jesus down in
I read
notes.
that as you were talking and try not to laugh out loud.
Just so strange.
Shit breath Jesus.
Dog shit toothpaste Jesus.
Well, on that theme, with also 5 votes, gamers. There were a few variations, but we bunched them together. Gamers are whiny, entitled, pathetic little cunts. They need their protagonists to be male, have female co-stars who are buxom, scantily clad. If they don't get it, they bitch and moan, send death threats to people doing their jobs. Utter cunts. People who pretend to have a hobby just to battle people over the internet, usually because they don't have the education to talk politics or the testosterone level to talk sport. They're the reason the basement-dwelling stereotype never evaporates. And at least one of them has pretended to be very good at Path of Exiles 2 recently.
Sandbone?
Naming no names.
What a cunt. Yeah, this is, I suppose, a bit more on my social feeds, but like every day it's people fighting over plastic boxes. I love it. Not to join in, I just kind of like watching it.
No, yeah, I've seen a lot of these pricks recently talking about like The Last of Us 2 and just complaining that the actress isn't hot enough for them. It's like, dude, get a girlfriend or watch porn. Fucking get over yourself,
Yeah,
dude.
there's plenty of it on the internet.
Yeah.
Wank yourself dry.
Just put Last of Us 2 Rule 32 and knock yourself out. Like, fucking behave yourself. What's the matter with you? That's a real person that you're being mean to. Imagine she spoke about your looks.
Oh, she'd have nothing to talk about. Handsome people with massive cocks and good
Obviously,
hygiene.
Yeah.
It's even when they're making The Last of Us 2 into the TV show at the moment.
Yeah.
And the video game character that they hated is now being portrayed by a real actor. And they needed to get extra security to protect them from angry nerds that didn't like the video game character. And I was okay. I remember hearing people spitting at like villainous characters of soap operas when they were out and about in public. And they're trying to say, no, that's a character I play. I'm actually a lovely person. I'm thinking, what kind of fucking idiot doesn't know that? There's so many.
Yes, there are a lot.
So yes, gamers, cunts. After that we have Greg Wallace. 5 votes. Buttery biscuit base cunt. Absolute menace to women. Gives bald men a bad name. Utter shitehawk. And again, this is one I only found out about once I got the nominations. So, got the nominations, did a little bit of Googlings, and found out that there has been a history of about 20 years of inappropriate remarks and behaviour. What a cunt. And we quote, he said his accusers were middle-class women of a certain age and claimed that absolutely none of the staff on his other shows had complained about him. Baldy bastard.
Yeah, it's almost like a power balance exists in the workplace.
Yeah, something like that. It would give you that impression.
Like you're the talent of the show. The runners can't really say much.
Yeah.
And it turns out only middle-class women of a certain age, i.e. quite successful women, will go, hold on, bollocks, what are you doing?
That is strange.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
I don't know how you connected those two dots at all. But, yeah, I respect the homework.
I've always thought he was a creepy, weird little fucker. My missus said years ago, never trust a market trader, and she was fucking right. That's all I'm saying. Can't trust them.
Apt.
For those that don't know, he used to work on a fruit and veg store.
I don't know why that's tickled me so much.
It's true. Also, it's funnier if you know.
True, yeah.
It's also funnier if you know my missus because she's quite a small Japanese woman, so it's really funny. Right, this one's fun. This is definitely a 2-parter, by the way.
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
Because we're halfway through and I've got about 7 minutes. With 5 votes, Jonathan Gullis. Jonathan Gullis losing his shit after his head was photoshopped onto a seagull and being called Jonathan Seagullis. Sorry. I remember this. It's harder to say than it is to read.
Sorry, I had to mute myself there. I went.
Jonathan Gullis losing his shit after his head was photoshopped onto a seagull and being called Jonathan Seagullis by a bunch of year 8s made me fucking hell. Oh, this one's hard because it's very funny. Oh, one more time. Please edit these out. You're not gonna, but please do.
No.
This is revenge for your fucking Russell Brand moment, isn't it?
Yes, one a few times I've corpsed on recording and Dean revels in it.
Jonathan Gullis losing his shit after his head was photoshopped onto a seagull and being called Jonathan Seagullis by a bunch of year 8s made me laugh way more than it should have.
Bravo.
He complained that he couldn't get work. He complained that he couldn't get work because he's a filthy bastard Tory and this is so hard. So unprofessional. Come on. He complained that he couldn't get work because he's a filthy bastard Tory and that lot can't be trusted around kids or something. Fuck him. I can only focus on headbutting people like this and the words fall away. It did make me wonder how the fuck he would survive in a school environment when he got absolutely enraged at being photoshopped on a seagull. Honestly, the idea of kids photoshopping his face onto a seagull is so fucking good. That was
just
impossible.
the Jonathan Seagullus. I'm just picturing the unbridled fucking rage in his face.
Yes.
The audacity.
Everyone reposts the meme of him struggling to do a tweet in McDonald's, but it should just really be a picture of like a seagull with his face on it. That's all you need. He's looking at that picture on his phone.
It's him trying to Photoshop his face out of it, not realising it doesn't work that way.
Oh, fucking hell. Well, I reckon we can do one more, and then I'm going to have to bail.
So this one, Rishi Sunak, open quotation, Sky, close quotation, 5 votes. Rishi Sunak, I went without Sky TV as a child. Now, nobody left any writing with this one, but they all came in the same day, and when I did the Google with the date, this story came up like a rash.
Yep.
So, thanks to the time machine, we know what happened with this one. It seems like people took issue with Sunak's statement that he went without lots of things as a child, including Sky TV. Funny, as I know kids who are going without a lot of things like school lunches, heating, or future prospects. Thanks to some cunts running the country like a charity raffle. Cunt. And I do wonder how the fuck he only has 5 votes and it's 4 fucking Sky.
Yeah. I think he's just, even though he was Prime Minister, he's just sort of a non-entity, isn't he?
Very quickly forgotten, which says a lot about him.
There's not much to him.
No character.
No, like, he tried to play tough, which just made him look like a prefect, because it doesn't really work. So he quickly abandoned that.
I know we talked about it before when he tried to buy the can of Coke, and they held up the scanner to scan the can.
Yeah, and he put his card on
his
it.
Bank card.
Yeah, and I think that was shortly after he did a photo shoot of him filling up his car in a probably the same petrol station, and it wasn't his car.
Probably.
Because it was like a fucking Punto or something. And clearly he does not drive around in a Punto. He's like a multi
Ah, yes, lowered suspension, furry dice. This is obviously your car, sir.
Yeah, he's just... I almost feel sorry for him. He's just a tragic figure of, like, pointlessness. Like, even down to announcing...
I want him to drink the piss of a wandering vagrant that has drank nothing but jars of pickled onions for a month. Cunt.
Nicely brought back. Yeah, I remember this because it's not so much that he said, like, Sky was one of the things he had to do without. It was, oh, well, you know, I had to go without things as a child as well. And the reporter quite rightly said, well, what sort of things? And he went, oh, I don't know, Sky. And I remember my dad saving tokens from the Sun newspaper for about 8 months because you could then get Sky for like 50 quid. And me being the little smart ass that I was, I worked out how much money he'd spent on the Sun every day for 8 months to get that fucking 25 quid discount. And it cost like 80 quid. So I didn't have Sky either.
Yeah, you wanted to look at tits anyway, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have Sky either. We were fine. I just went round with Nan and Granddad's and watched MTV on a weekend.
Yeah, grandparents always fucking had it. It was the strangest thing.
Yeah.
We never watched that rubbish anay.
You weren't allowed in Ireland. I think it was to do with rules or something.
Yeah, they're not going to give us satellite dishes.
They might weaponise them.
Fuck, the last thing they need is technology.
Right, yeah, I'm going to have to call it on this one.
Right, we'll put some music there. We'll be back in a moment. That was a lovely, refreshing piss break.
Yeah, it's quite a long one, that.
Yeah, it doesn't normally take 24 hours, but I suppose I am getting into my later years. You have to tickle the trout a little bit.
Yeah, the prostate's starting to enlarge.
It just makes it easier to find. So, would you like to take the next entry, or shall I start?
No, I'd be honoured to take this one, actually.
Oh, I'm glad.
It's not controversial at all. With 5 votes... the woman in that McDonald's who turned in Luigi Mangione. Betrayed the working class and dobbed in a guy who provided a net positive to the world by killing a CEO. Touts out. This McDonald's employee is the prick that gets bitten in a zombie movie and doesn't tell anyone. The McDonald's they worked in was review bombed and had to close down for a spell after they sold out the Punisher.
Yeah.
And as a nice addendum, she sold him out for a $50,000 reward that she then didn't get because she didn't ring it into the specific hotline. So she got fuck all.
I used to work in BT, and one of the campaigns we ran at the time, the Xbox 360, you know, the Wi-Fi adapter that you get for that?
Yes.
Because in caveman days, you had to use Ethernet cables. It didn't just come with Wi-Fi enabled. But they did a campaign, if you signed up for a year's worth of broadband, you got a free adapter, which was a good deal at the time. But you had to sign up through a specific web page, which not everybody did. So they heard about the deal, thought that's great, signed up for a year's worth of broadband, and then we'd get an angry phone call about 2 months later saying they hadn't got it. And then an angrier phone call when we told them they weren't getting it.
Yeah.
Very much feels like that scenario.
Yeah, but in this scenario, an entire class hates you now.
There is that, and the poor McDonald's, it got review bombed. It didn't deserve that. It's not the McDonald's fault.
No, they've never done anything wrong.
Never. On a similar note, because I do believe he's fond of the brand, and I shocked only got this far, Trump got 5 votes, and we got a few entries that came in for this hot air balloon made from Satsuma-coloured flesh. I was expecting more once he won the election, as I imagine he's going to make it just as great as he did last time. Yeah, I also put a little note to myself, because I like talking to myself, that note aged well.
Yeah.
Punk of the future. Thank you, future punk.
Given that this was pre-inauguration, I think you're going to get a lot more in this year's nominations.
I would hope so. If there's any justice in the world at all, I am hoping he is a top 3 contender for the next year, because he's already earned a couple of fucking votes in my books.
I think next year's is just going to be like 3 people and take about 10 minutes to do.
I think I would prefer that, yeah. I mean, this is a 30-page document. If we were sticking to the half-hour formula, we'd be fucked.
I know, we'd only done about 7, and I was looking at like, oh, well, that's your format out the fucking window.
Remember when you used to be compact? Yes, I do. If you think this is hard to listen to, you should try editing it. Would you like the next one?
I would. I love this
meow
fella. Sorry, my cat's screaming. Sticking to the Trump
can sense the
universe. Alex Jones with 6 nominations. Been a shite year for Mr. Jones, and I have revelled in every bit of the cunt's misery. After finally getting his comeuppance for using the shooting of children as young as 6 to promote his fucking bizarre theories, the murdered children were a stage show organised by the left-wing Illuminati, and the grieving families were all hired actors, merely breaking down emotionally in public for a pay packet. Well, his listeners then started harassing the families of the people that led their that had their children murdered, and this led to legal action being taken against Jones. The downfall, hitting the bottle, losing his channel and company. The Onion, almost purchasing InfoWars, was the cherry on top. Too good to actually happen, though. I don't wish misfortune on many people, but what those people lost and went through, just for some bloated pig mutant with a toupee to use them for content, inciting mobs to harass these people, yeah, he deserves worse. Cunt.
Definitely a cunt. It's, again, I'm not one for sour grapes, I say out loud, internally. I'm very fond of sour grapes. Everything that happened to him, I really enjoyed seeing play out in real time.
Yeah, it couldn't happen to a nicer prick, to be honest.
Hopefully it's a gap in the market. I would like to get on and become a radio presence. I can shout, I can slam tables. I don't know what the fuck's going on in the real world either.
Info scuffle.
I wonder if InfoWars is still for sale. I probably have more capital than the Onion. After that, we had a lot of votes, another 6 when I grouped them together. They were for different people, but I kind of bunched it all together. So we had votes for Bradley McCarthy, the Bristol rioters, Wayne O'Rourke, and that wanker that tried to burn down a hotel that housed asylum seekers. So we got a lot of bad behaviour reported from those savage barbarians from the mainland, England, the cons. Bradley McCarthy for shouting at a police dog and using racist slurs, he's a cunt. Wayne O'Rourke got 3 years in prison after publishing written material to stir up racial hate. Cunt Levi Fishlock, stupid named cunt, who tried to set fire to a hotel housing asylum seekers. He got jailed for 9 years. Cunt. Double cunt. The plus side to this story is Brian Spencer, who is also a cunt. Everybody should remember this. He is the ball bag that got brained by a brick during a riot. He turned round nursing his poor little bricked head and then got smashed in the ghoulies by another brick. It's one of my favourite videos on the internet. I love it. It never fails to cheer me up. I made one with extra sound effects. Oh, it's a dopamine hit. I will never have depression as long as that video is on my phone.
I have watched that video roughly 300 times. It's the fucking best. I've seen it with like dubbed versions. I've seen so many good versions.
It is the instant karma video we always wanted.
It is. It's the wounded expression on his face as he turns around because he's been twatted on the head and then immediately gets another one in the bollocks from his own mate. So it's just fucking priceless. What I found really alarming is I'm 43 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That cunt's 38 and he looks like my dad.
Jesus Christ.
So I think hate really does age you.
Yeah? And you think that's before you got a brick to the crotch? I'm sure he looks a bit older now. Yeah, I'll go with that. Cunts, all of them. Yes, shower of cunts. A cascade of cunts.
A cascade of Bristolian cunts. Now, I'm proud to say I thought this fellow was a cunt long before any of this came out.
Yeah.
But with 6 nominations, President of Ireland and Rape Trial, Conor McGregor. The man that couldn't sell whiskey to the Irish wants to become President of Ireland. Following in the steps of Trump, an outspoken predator wants some more power. Yes, the MMA star was also found guilty of sexual assault in a civil case brought by Nikita Hand, who accused him of raping her at a Dublin hotel in December 2018, which has caused a bit of discourse over here. Many say that the victim was only looking for a payday. Quite troubling the way the general public seem to hold women in disdain for daring to speak out against their attackers. Wonder why so many people are scared to come forward after being attacked when the general public seems to take such joy in shaming and blaming them for speaking out. McGregor's steadily becoming more of a cunt as the years go by. Yep. Cunt.
Some listeners may have guessed these notes may not be your own, so...
No, but I agree wholeheartedly with them.
It's just every day I work with the public in parts with work, and the amount of people that came in and said that Hoor is doing nothing but looking for a payday and this is why she didn't go to a real court, things along this line.
Yeah, you hear it on all of these sort of cases. You had it with the Trump rape case, people just accusing her of looking for money. It's like, you don't go through this amount of shit for money.
I say, she's a bit of a tramp anyway because, only virgins are allowed to be sexually assaulted. That's how it works.
I mean, Ireland's still got some funny ideas, to be fair.
Yes, we chase our future partners through car parks and pick them up. That is still how we meet each other. That is why Lady Punk is so tiny. I'm a very weak man.
Although, if you do want some feelings of gratification towards McGregor, just Google Nurmagomedov just absolutely fucking ragdolling him for 5 rounds. It'll make you feel much better.
Do some sound effects for that one too. Yes, that would entertain me.
It's just the fact he gets him on the ground, starts beating the fuck out of him, and then says, "Come on then, let's start talking now, bitch." For ages. He's just absolutely fucking schoolboys him, and it's hilarious.
There's a reason he wants to fight YouTubers instead of actual martial artists.
Yeah, because he's shit. He's not good if they can wrestle, basically.
I should have a bit of national pride, but I don't. He's always been a cunt.
He was really good against people that only did stand-up. That's all he can do. He's a decent taekwondo guy, but against anyone that can wrestle, he just gets fucking ragdolled.
I think people hear wrestling, they think WWE, WWF. Oh, that's not a real sport. You fight somebody that knows how to wrestle, you're fucked.
Yeah, the day you get your first oil check is going to open your fucking eyes to a whole different world of trouble.
Ding dong. Well, speaking of ding-dongs, Fujitsu and Royal Mail Post Office scandal cunts. So a few votes for different parts of this, and it was kind of difficult to summarise and put it into one, and we didn't get any quotes from the listeners. They just wanted to point at it and bite this. This is a cunt. Make it look like a cunt. It was an absolute clusterfuck of mismanagement, and it led to a lot of people getting blamed for issues outside their control, and their superiors trying to cover holes. Wrongful prosecution of hundreds of postmasters for theft and fraud due to anomalies found in the flawed accounting software, which was developed by Fujitsu, although Fujitsu did say they raised all these concerns and they were ignored, so they put the blame back on Royal Mail. Regarded as the UK's most widespread miscarriage of justice, it destroyed many lives, led some to take their own lives, and affected families across the board. Cunts.
Absolute cunts. Corporate cunts of the highest magnitude.
Yeah, this is another one if you wanted to get into. There is so much material trying to cover this, and when I first heard about it, I had no idea the scale and how far it went.
Yeah, I know. It covered like 3 governments, basically. It's like running back 20 odd years. It's pretty scandalous when you look into it.
So yeah, fair to say, cunts.
Also with 6 votes, Jane Secker. Sky News presenter tells teenager to go outside. So this contemptible piece of shit, apart from working for Sky News, which alone is a reason to be called a cunt, who dared to belittle 13-year-old Blue Scooty, the kid who was the first non-AI true kill screen Tetris player. The quote, "As a mother, I would just say step away from the screen. His father died in December." Secker showed the usual level of Sky journalism by blurting out her unwelcome, unwanted and outdated opinions. If not a winner, make this fuckface cunt a top runner for one of the lowest, smug, shit-filled cunts of 2024. I did make a point of reposting the link for Cunt of the Year 24 when this story was doing the rounds. I love Tetris, and between the Game Boy, consoles and VR, have pumped stupid hours into the franchise. What this teenager did was nothing short of impressive. A wielder of golden thumbs. Instead of allowing them to enjoy their triumph, Jane decided to mock him with some cheesy dialogue ripped out of a high school-based drama from the 90s. What a cunt. Willis Gibson, or Blue Scooty, managed to break Tetris and dedicated his achievement to his late father, Adam Gibson, who died of a heart attack in December 2023. Apparently, their old man was very supportive of the hobby and would have been proud. Fucking right. Lifelong Tetris player here, and I'm proud of Willis. So Jane Scooty, cunt. Jane Secker. Jane Scooty, I'm sure, is lovely.
Yeah, as I've put in the notes, I have poured hours into Tetris. I have played them on many platforms. And to fucking destroy the game, to play Tetris so well, you made it break itself. That is nothing if not impressive.
Yeah, I've played a lot of Tetris in my time, and I never got close to doing that.
Again, I baited this one out when everybody was complaining about the reporting. It's like, oh yeah. Do you know I also do a little Cunt of the Year show, and this is the sort of thing we like to cover.
Jane Secker is worse than Russia. I'm just going to go back to that.
Yes, this is how the format works. Worse than Trump.
Worse than Trump, and yet Cow Goes Moo is also worse than Russia. So, but not as bad as Jane Secker.
Well, Cow Goes Moo has never appeared on Sky News, to my knowledge, or yet.
Not yet.
A couple of investigations, I'm sure. After that, Lawrence Fox with 6 votes. Indecent picture, Narinder Kaur, and 90,000 paedophile payments, and I forgot to make notes on him. For some reason, I probably thought we could just roll with this one.
I think we can riff on this. So, I don't even know how you narrow Lawrence Fox down to 2. The indecent picture of Narinder Kaur was pretty gross. He basically posted on X an upskirt photo of her that had been taken by a prick of a paparazzi and thought it was funny. But Narinder Kaur was a colleague of his on GB News, so, you know, she's not without blame for being a cunt herself, but no one deserves to have their bits flashed on websites against their will for no reason other than you disagree with them.
No, certainly not.
The 90,000 paedophile payments I'm not sure about, but it's probably something to do with him calling people paedophiles on X and them suing him because you can't just say that in Britain.
That is exactly what happened, yes. They brought him to court. They were found in the right. He had to pay a lot of money that it doesn't look like he currently has. Because I was thinking he was actually quiet this year in his terms. The last thing I remember was when he crashed into the side of a bus and there was a video altercation. Yeah, he was definitely drunk.
Quite clearly drunk.
As a professional drinker myself, I know a drunk driver when I see one.
Yeah, or when you hear them slurringly shouting at a bus driver.
All the English sound the same. I just thought that's how they got on.
But also the time when he tried to set fire to a trans flag ribbon thing, but because of EU construction regulations, they're inflammable, so he couldn't.
But we've left the EU. Why won't you burn? Your regulations no longer apply to me.
All that time he posted a picture of his children in blackface that he'd photoshopped against their will, yeah. And as I never tire of saying, Richard Ayoade is his brother-in-law, so Christmas around their place must be fucking joyous.
That very slow sharpening of the carving knife.
Just imagine that cunt being related to you in any way at all. It must be fucking tragic.
Oh, there's always one in every family. Would you like the next cunt? Oh yes, Lawrence Fox. Cunt.
Cunt.
6 times cunt.
Dr. Disrespect with 7 votes this time. Turns out if they swim like a nonce, quack like a nonce, and make a living through looking like a nonce on Twitch, they're probably a nonce. Man who breaks into bathrooms and tapes minors is a pedo. Shocked. Shocked! Who didn't look at this muppet and know he was a creeper? Dr. Disrespect was caught sexting minors through Twitch using their whisper feature. No wrongdoing was acknowledged has become an epigram I use frequently ever since his infamous tweet. I used to use I'm sorry you feel that way and the only thing I can do is apologise, without apologising in petty, snide ways to mock customers in my call centre days. The greasy fuckwit has made an attempt to return to streaming. As he plays multiplayer games, he had entire lobbies leaving or booting him out when he tried to join up. Some just gave him a good old-fashioned roasting. But like Elvis and Michael Jackson before him, why let a thing like decency get in the way of your entertainment? He seems to have a pretty loyal fan base of what I imagine are primarily child molesters too.
Parody podcast.
Is he the one with sunglasses and a mullet?
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, yeah. The one that looks like a nonce.
Believe it or not, yes, he does look like a paedophile.
Yeah. Yeah.
And these are the sort of people adults will plonk their children down in front of and let him entertain them for hours.
I'm glad I don't have kids.
Couldn't trust yourself?
Behave.
So, yeah, I have no idea. Like, caught out in the way he was, and he never denied doing it. He just said, oh, as the quote went, no wrongdoing was acknowledged, which is fucking a fantastic bit of speech.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what you say when you're doing a plea deal.
Very much. I say I use it all the time now, not for my Nancy ways, just for little things I fuck up at work.
Yeah, so yeah, in closing, cunt.
Cunt! After that, of course I'd get this one, being Mr. Pure Dead Xbox. Xbox for closing down Tango Studios with 7 votes. Chai is still a rock star. Xbox are cunts. Having one of the most unique games this generation, one that felt like the start of a new gaming franchise, and Phil Spencer bins them. Cunt. This was my favourite game. Butchered. I would appreciate it if you include cunt in your submissions in future, listener. We want more small games and a Japanese presence. Closes down their only small Japanese studio. Fuck them cunts. Justice for Cinnamon. Yeah, earlier in the year, Xbox announced the closure of Tango Gameworks in May 2024. Much to the dismay of their fans, I was joined on this very show by Modern Escapism's Stig and Gadget for an episode on the game. Not enough people have played it, a rhythm-based hack-and-slash game with a gorgeous art style that looked like a cartoon you could play. Soundtrack that fucking lived up to its name with some brilliant usage of licensed tracks, Invaders Must Die from The Prodigy especially. Had a story that started off a bit run-of-the-mill, but by the end of the game I adored your entire ensemble and couldn't wait for more. We talked about a TV show, movies and of course sequels. This got a cold shower when they announced the studio's closure, as if Big Woolly Philly reached through the phone screen and punched me in the testicles. Certain things have come to light since the closure. Shinji Mikami left and brought a few of the key members with him, no doubt being a huge part of it. Whatever the surrounding circumstances, I can agree. I too thought Xbox were cunts for killing the Hi-Fi Rush studio. It still hurts. Cunts! Did you ever get around to Hi-Fi Rush?
Yeah, I played it when it came out, and I didn't, to my shame, I haven't completed it because I think I got waylaid with other things, but I played about 3/4 of the way through. Mm-hmm. I like it. It's a really original game. The art style was really, really cool. Very over-the-top, colourful, cartoony. And it was like fun, silly violence, but the rhythm game part of it was very original because there were a few other games in that kind of fold, as in rhythm games, but like there was one that was more kind of like a Doom style game.
Metal Hellslinger?
Yes, that's it, yeah. and that was shite, to be fair. It just didn't really work.
Yeah,
Because you think you're playing Doom, but you're also playing Parappa the Rapper at the same time, so it doesn't quite work. Whereas it works with Hi-Fi Rush for that very reason, because it kind of captures you in that universe.
Well, Hi-Fi Rush, it never punished you if you fell away from the beat.
No.
Your attacks wouldn't be as effective, but
Yeah,
you could still get through it if you had no rhythm. So a lot like sex.
but I remember it was a huge hit, and like loads of people loved it. So I remember hearing when they just went, they're a great studio, bye. I was like, whoa, wow, fuck. So it doesn't even matter if you do good shit now, like you're just out.
And as I said in the notes, I think there were some certain things happening behind the scenes, but still, they've been picked up since by Crafton, who published like PUBG, Callisto Protocol, Subnautica and the like. And they are hiring new staff, so maybe we could apply with our brilliant voice work.
Yeah. That's the problem. Is like you make a great game like Hi-Fi Rush, and it's popular, but you still get canned, and then you wonder why they make like 27 of the same Assassin's Creed game, basically.
Just an endless stream of fucking sequels.
Just mediocre shite. Like, and I'm sure we'll come to this in a bit, but like, was it Star Wars Survivor? Like Jedi Survivor, the cow games. They were great. Like the second one was amazing. And then they released
Outlaws,
which was okay.
I fucking hated it.
No, I got through it, but I hadn't long finished playing Survivor, and that was a fucking great game. And yeah, the Outlaws just felt like another fucking Assassin's Creed game, but with blasters now.
It was really, I hate to boil it down, but Ubisoft seemed to get franchises that did the same with Avatar. 2023, and it's just it's our game with different licensing, so we just change the world it's in and off it goes.
Yeah, but like Lego does that, but they do it good.
You haven't played Lego Horizon, have you?
No, I haven't. I haven't done one since like Lego Batman 3, to be fair.
Even Lego Star Wars, I think I would like to give that a crack. There is the entire collection, the Skywalker collection.
Okay.
Keeping on the topic of country, Xbox cunts. Would you like the next one?
Yes, certainly. With 8 votes, pretty much staying in the zone of gaming for a while now. Concord devs. They killed Factions 2 so they could release a soulless hero shooter that moves at the pace of a geriatric salsa dancing class. I wanted this to do well so it would annoy the anti-woke mob. Now they use it as a prime example of go woke, go broke. Overwatch at home for 35 quid. As a man used to say, get fucked. This game perfectly captured the essence of Sony in the year 2025. Unoriginal, uninspired, unimpressive, and undesirable. A game that looked shite before release turned out to be quite shite. Shocker, they did take the fucker offline in about a week, which is impressive in a way, not a good way. These posts came in pretty soon after it closed, and it will be interesting to see if anything has changed by the end of the year.
Yes.
Concord.
Nothing has changed by the end of the year.
No.
This was a shocker. PlayStation are on a real high with their games as a service, which they've cancelled a lot of at the moment.
Yeah, I don't play any PlayStation games, so this is one of many that kind of passed me by, but I was aware of it because I've never heard of a game being taken out of service after a month before.
I mean, I was trying to think, it was Cyberpunk got taken off the store for its bad shape when it originally released, and then it came back. But like the studio that made this got closed down shortly after. This isn't coming back. No,
I think you're at a period at the moment as well with games companies is that they're just not taking any risks. So if it isn't an immediate success, they're just going to write it off for like tax purposes, I think.
Probably the best thing for it because the numbers weren't great. This one came out in PC as well, and between the two platforms, it just wasn't doing anything. And I think they want Fortnite, and they want a Fortnite that makes that kind of money from day one, which isn't going to happen.
No.
So I feel bad for them. They had their studio closed down, but they've been voted cunts, so what can you do? Cunts! Speaking of cunts, one of my favourite cunts, I get a lot of content out of this guy, Reforge Gaming, with 8 votes. One listener said, it's pretty obvious. I agree. Another listener said, this cretin sucks the joy out of the gaming hobby. True. Screeching idiot. Also true. I like that I get to watch his content without adding to his metrics thanks to Astro Cyborg on Twitter. His online begging, bullying, gaslighting and general abuse towards his audience members is disgusting and he shouldn't be granted a platform. This cunt keeps using words I don't think he fully understands. If I have to hear shadowboxing used in the wrong context once more, I might just dress up as Shadow the Hedgehog and beat him up as he sleeps. Parody podcast. This sex pest turned grifter is everything that is wrong with online commentary around gaming. He's a leech that survives off his community, a parasite that needs the tweezers and a match. Jimmy Neutron looking cunt. I'll not lie, it cheered me up greatly to see these roll in. Reforge is an open quotation gaming channel, close quotation. He professes himself as the logician and makes these really implausible scenarios around gaming trends and tries to connect the imaginary dots to prove his point. If anyone in his chat corrects him or doesn't instantly agree with him, he attacks them, blocks them, or accuses them of not having a compelling argument. It is a fantastic display of the fragile male ego. Although he seems to make a living from the swindle, so if people are foolish enough to throw money at the grifter, they deserve to suffer for his produce. Cunt. Creepy cunt with boundary and anger management issues. So we've shared this guy quite frequently on the Discord to point and laugh. I don't know if you've seen them.
Yeah, I don't know him really outside of that, but obviously I know he pops up quite a lot with you guys just dunking on him. So that's kind of my total awareness of him. But I would like to point out that the Logician sounds like a sex-based Batman villain. I would not describe myself as the Logician. That sounds like you're figuring how to put things in places.
Oh, Batman. Does a triangle square in a round hole? We'll find out as you're chained up. Yeah, he does have that kind of air about him. They consider it bad form to bring up his past, but I'm a cunt, I don't care. He was a pretty big Destiny streamer, and he was being, what would the term be? A bit rapey. So he had to make a big online apology video, which he's tried to rewrite history and said he never apologized because he wasn't in the wrong, but if you put something up on the internet, it always exists.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's funny that isn't it?
Yeah, bit of a strange one. So even in his apology video, like, he blames the people around him for not alerting him to his own behaviour, that kind of mentality.
Okay, so, yeah. Why didn't you stop me hitting you?
Yeah, putting my hand up this, or trapping people here, or threatening people in hotel rooms. Cunt. Would you like the next one?
I would, because it sort of falls into what I was talking about, not 2 or 3 points previously.
Should have kept our powder dry.
I know. So, going back to the aforementioned, Ubisoft with 8 votes. For Skull and Bones, Outlaws being shite, the fact that they are cunts, and delaying Assassin's Creed. I used to think the worst thing Ubisoft ever had done was cover a string of sexual abuse cases, moving the abusers to other areas of the business, much like the Catholic Church did. That was until I played Skull and Bones. They should all be in jail. I really didn't get on with Star Wars Outlaws, and it might have been my biggest gaming disappointment of 2024. I love Star Wars. I love Ubisoft map clearing adventures, and it should have been a match in heaven. Terrible game, and an absolute waste of the license. Cunts. Assassin's Creed Shadows has been funny. Delayed twice, and the AC games used to be annual like clockwork. It has annoyed Japanese people, the game is based in Japan, by making the protagonist a historical figure and playing a bit fast and loose with actual history. Now, they've done this before. Assassin's Creed 3 seemed to put the protagonist in the centre of a lot of the big events around the American Revolution. I mean, you beat up the Pope in Assassin's Creed 2. Fans don't care if it's not 100% accurate, but one of the protagonists is based on a real-life figure that isn't well chronicled, and a lot of people are wondering why they didn't go with either a better documented figure or create a fictional character. The other protagonist is Fujibayashi Noe, a completely fictional shinobi. So apart from the underlying racism of not wanting to play as a black character, I can see why Japanese people are annoyed. There is also the tone-deaf collectible, which shows the 2 protagonists on a broken Torii gate. The only broken Torii gate is one found in Nagasaki that broke amidst the city's 1945 atomic bomb blast, and has remained as a chilling reminder of the event. Then they delayed the game again into March 20th, 2025, which just happens to be the 30th anniversary of the Tokyo subway sarin attack, Japan's deadliest modern terrorist incident. I think it's safe to say Ubisoft cheaped out on cultural advisors lately. Cunts. Yeah, I've got a lot to say about that because my wife's Japanese and I've been to Japan a bunch and I've seen that particular gate. Mm-hmm. I've also seen the burnt out municipal building in Hiroshima, and I would not be putting any of that shit in games because it's very fucking sensitive.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't like to see a promotional poster for something based over here with the background of the Oma bomb. It's like, oh,
Yeah, exactly.
people aren't going to like that.
No, or when they bombed the BT Tower or some shit. It's a bit controversial. When I say they, I mean you, obviously.
Well, I would go for them. I used to work for BT. I hold a grudge. Nobody fires me. So, yeah, I mean, if they had anybody on team that was Japanese, I'm sure they could have even said that mightn't be the best. It seems like an obvious one. And do you remember on Assassin's Creed when you started the game and it used to boast that, you know, this is developed by people from every part of life, every gender, every sexuality. Oh, we're a big family. And it's like, I don't think so.
I don't think that's the case anymore. Not in Trump's America. And do they even put that disclaimer up anymore? I don't know if they do.
I think it was in Valhalla. They edit it every time now to try and include more in it, but that just makes it feel a bit more disingenuous.
Now it just says we are made mainly by a team of white guys from California, so suck it.
Fucking AI.
Suck it, libtard.
Press A, you woke bitch.
I'm glad you got this one.
So the next cunt we have here is the ex-DUP leader, Jeffrey Donaldson, who resigns after a rape charge. Yeah, I'm so glad I got this one. How do you know Jeffrey Donaldson is a paedophile? He looks like one. This one I got submitted 3 times. I don't know if it was the same person that wanted to get their point across or we have Father Ted fans. Those Protestants, up to no good as usual. DUP? More like DUPedo. I thought he was a cunt before he diddled his daughter. Parody podcast. Do not sue. Yeah, this is an ongoing case that is meant to go to trial in March of this year. It covers 18 charges against Sir Jeffrey Donaldson, MP, the retired DUP leader, who resigned when these allegations broke. 1 for rape, 4 acts of gross indecency, and 13 charges of indecent assault. Charges that span from 1985 to 2008. The DUP are a shower of bastards, and I always assume they're guilty of everything before judgments are made. Arlene Foster got away with the renewable heat incentive scandal, thanks to the Conservative DUP agreement with Theresa May, the seats that helped her fucking party cling to power, which resulted in a big payout that Northern Ireland never really saw, I'm sure somebody did, and led to being legally cut off from Europe and mainland UK thanks to some stupid fucking teenage bid for independence. Brexit, cunts. Don't get me started on the Robinsons. Shire of cunts. So did this story make it over to the mainland?
Yeah, so I was aware of Jeffrey Donaldson a little bit. It wasn't like main breaking news. I think I got it more from the fact that you were posting about it gleefully.
Yeah, I do that.
We don't get much Northern Ireland news in Britain, really, because you're essentially a colony and we don't care. But
it's not a real fucking place.
It's not. It's fucking. We only care about Northern Ireland when it comes to votes. That's the only time England gives a fuck about Northern Ireland, Wales, or Scotland, if we're really honest.
Look, we don't give a fuck about the buttery real side of Ireland. Why would we care about the fucking margarine substitute part?
The stalk of Ireland. No, so I was
not even Lurpak.
I was vaguely aware of it, but my main awareness of the DUP is essentially that Arlene Foster looks like Robbie Coltrane's stunt double from Nuns on the Run.
Robbie was never that well built.
No,
that woman has shoulders.
I mean, she's a stocky lad, but beyond that, like, because to me it really does. Like, Arlene Foster just looks like someone that got caught chewing a wasp and got a taste for it.
When they said the wind will change and your face will stay that way, it did.
Yeah. And look, the only reason
just always comes back to looks with you.
I know. I'm a cheap bitch when it comes to humour.
Just wants pretty politicians.
But also, Northern Ireland did help us discover that there is a magic money tree. And it is in Northern Ireland, apparently.
It's the end of the rainbow.
Yeah. I'm not doing any fucking jokes about leprechauns. You are not trapping me there, you motherfucker.
Well, if you aren't going to fall for bait, read the next one.
With 9 votes, Nintendo for closing down emulators and for suing Palworld. Nintendo are cunts. I would like to buy an old game. They no longer sell this old game. So I download a ROM and play this old game. Nintendo throw me in prison and I get raped relentlessly by the inmates. Nintendo suing Palworld for making the game they should have made 10 years ago. Where the fuck is the Switch 2? Cunts. Nintendo went gang-ho against Switch emulators the previous year. They never had much time for emulators, but they never really went for it in 2024. Emulating lets you play their games at higher resolutions, frame rates, and shorter loading times. I love the Switch, but it definitely feels its age now. Hopefully the recently revealed Switch 2 remedies some of this. But you can also use emulators to illegally acquire these games and play them. Cow goes moo? Fuck them. Bring back the virtual console. The Power situation is odd. People assume Nintendo would go after them for designs or copyright infringement, but they're bringing them to court over patents, things like riding monsters or capturing them with sphere-like devices that are similar to Pokeballs. But the capsules containing monsters wasn't even an original idea of theirs. Nintendo, what a bunch of cunts. I'll still get a Switch 2 though.
I will get a Switch 2. But they are cunts.
So I'm allowed to say they're cunts because I haven't bought a Nintendo since like the GameCube, I think. Mainly because they
joy in your soul.
No, I do. I just don't have enough money to buy a console for 4 games every 10 years.
It is a bit of a trap, but yeah.
It always has been.
It's even now when the Switch 1 came out, the idea of a portable console handheld that could produce such graphics was such a novelty, but ROG Ally and Steam Deck and everything now, which probably will play Switch 2 games and better.
Yeah.
With the Pal World thing, it is shocking. Like, they should have made this sort of Pokemon game before now, and I think they're just a bit sour. Somebody else picked up the money that was on the table.
Yeah, I think they don't like the fact that it did fucking huge business in like the first few months immediately, because there's a base hungry for that shit.
A return from last year, and hopefully I'll get through this one with less problems. Russell Brand with 9 votes. Scarecrow-looking sex pest. Surprised he hasn't become a priest to act out his perversions. Cunt. This fucker ruined Despicable Me for me, but that was before the allegations. So, yeah, I'm guessing he got votes for his behaviour last year because he's kind of fallen off the radar a bit.
Yeah, the documentary came out on Channel 4 and what was it? It wasn't The Guardian, was it? There was a paper and Channel 4 in collaboration, basically. I can't remember the paper.
We did watch it.
It would be The Guardian or Independent or something like that, because there's not very many good papers out there.
It's not going to be The Sun.
And it wouldn't be The Sun. They love him. They like rapists, allegedly.
Parody podcast.
Parody podcast. The views of the hosts are purely their own, and the show is not responsible in any way, legally or financially. Yeah, so I imagine a lot of these came out, particularly given the second comment you made, that came out when that documentary dropped, because it was pretty shocking. I think I'm in my 40s, and I, like a hipster for hating Russell Brand, I hated him before everyone did. I always thought he was a pretentious poncy cunt. I just don't like anything about that style of comedy, so-called. It was clearly, to me, he's a fucking poser, but
yeah.
When that broke, there had always been rumours about it. It's like Jimmy Savile. Everyone fucking knew, but no one knew, right? Like, it's the same kind of thing. Everyone knew that Russell Crowe was a sex person, as Alan Partridge would say. And you can't trust sex people. But like he was basically grooming a 15-year-old at the time and taking her to the studios. He's a fucking creep. But the reason I think a lot of these nominations came out subsequently to the documentary is when the second comment says, "Some surprised he hasn't become a priest to act out his perversions." Because I don't know if you're aware of what he's been up to in the last few months.
I have seen.
Because he is now I don't know, priest, but he is a vicar or some shit of some Christian denomination now, and he can baptize, and because all rapists suddenly find Jesus every fucking time.
It's the quickest path to enlightenment, I feel.
All I'm saying, Jimmy Savile did a lot of charity work and he loved Christ. You jump to your own conclusions.
I think we do.
So yeah, Russell Brand, cunt.
Cunt.
A perennial favourite of the board, of the Discord trolling.
Yes, a mascot.
And chinless mascot. With 10 nominations, Andrew Tate plus Tristan. For that birthday photo of him topless, with a dog, with a chub on. Connect the dots and you get a chinless mutant that smears butter on his arsehole for his dog to greedily consume. Cunt. He looks like that yellow bastard from Sin City, and is possibly a nonce. Human trafficking cunt. It's no wonder his daddy abandoned him. Gay as fuck cunt. Hope this is a reference to the running joke and not actually homophobia.
Fingers crossed.
Andrew, yeah, I would point out that's in bold, so if it is homophobia, fucking wind your neck in, boy.
Yeah.
Andrew Tate is the reason I'm sad the Romanian government outlawed capital punishment in 1990. I mean, his face should be in the dictionary for the definition of a cunt. I know a lot of stuff that's technically 2025 related pop into my head when thinking of the ultimate persona of the alpha man. The rubber-headed Fanny wants to be Prime Minister, but 2024 saw more rape and trafficking charges labelled at the brothers. While they seem to preach about how people should behave, how to be more manly, while posing with AI-generated anime girls. I think what I love about this, and which I know will torture Andrew Tate forever, is that as much of a cunt as he is, Tristan is actually a good-looking fella and has a jawline. And I know that must fucking eat at him like a cancer, because he got all the good genes. Andrew Tate is basically the sputum that was running down his mum's leg after his dad had finished.
Yeah, you think the semen had curdled a little bit before he came along?
I reckon they left that on the floor and scraped it up after.
Tristan came from the fresher batch.
Yeah, he's fresh from the box.
He's back of the shelf. You're front of the shelf, ready for the bin.
Yeah, exactly. But they're both cunts.
Oh, certainly. Pair of cunts. Chinless cunts.
Chinless cunt.
Oh, this is the one you were trying to avoid, isn't it?
I'm fucking glad I got Andrew Tate.
Said nobody ever. Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu?
Perfect. Or Benjamin Netanyahu.
Wank.
Yep.
Pretty cunt move to genocide people, don't you think? Free Palestine, you cunts. Yeah, as you can probably guess, the votes didn't go into too much detail, but it's hard to see why so many people voted for these cunts. Baby killing, apartheid, and colonial practices the British would be proud of. Shire of cunts. Not too much to go into on this one.
I mean, there's so much. There is literally hours and hours and hours. But
it's just in this day and age where we are so well connected, we are getting live feeds from people who are experiencing this. I mean, you always had the element of ignorance during, say, World War II, where people didn't really know what was going on. It had to be reported to them.
Yeah.
We get to see live camera footage, front person view of what is happening. And it's like, why the fuck aren't we doing anything?
Yeah. I mean, this one is a landmine for anyone. No one wants to get involved in this fucking mess, generally speaking. And because obviously anti-Semitism is a term that gets thrown around quite easily when any criticism at all is leveled at Israel. Although they're very quick to point out that all Israelis are not Jews, but all Jews are Israelis. So you can't criticize Jews because that would be anti-Semitism, but you can't criticize Israel either because that's also anti-Semitism, which is, confusing and difficult. But how do you go from literally being the number one, you had the best reason to be pissed off and upset, terrible thing happened, you were absolutely justified, and then you went way too fucking far and fucked it. Immediately. No one sympathizes with you anymore because you went way too far.
There's no way to have sympathy. I mean, we've watched live footage of fucking parents scrambling through rubble looking for fucking body parts of their children.
Yeah, it's fucking terrible. I've tried to avoid this topic mainly, but you can't really justify this. And I also think that this fucked a lot of the so-called liberal or more left-leaning parties around Europe, America, obviously Britain, cause a lot of issues because this is a really fucking... Whatever side you come down is not going to work out well.
No.
Either way, you could argue there is a moral right to come down on, but politically it's not going to go well for you either way. So I can see why no one wants to fucking touch it with a barge pole.
At least Trump's going to sort it all out.
He's just going to move all the Gazans into Jordan and Egypt, right? Which I believe is ethnic cleansing.
He's going to pop them over to Mexico, which he's going to rename.
Oh yeah, the Gulf of Gaza. But he spelt it with an O because he's a fucking moron.
He likes golf. Fucking leave him alone.
He loves it.
Can a man not relax when he's running the world?
Do you think that's why he's got involved? He just thinks it's a golf course. I love the Gulf of Mexico. It's the best golf in Mexico. They have great golf.
Would not shock me at all.
Anyway, yeah. Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, cunts.
Cunts. Oh yeah, you get an easy one.
Right. So you get the next one's fun though. So with 10 nominations, Sony. So there are various posts stuck together here. Sony for fucking up Helldivers 2, Stars outage, closing London studio a week after visiting, pulling the plug on Little Big Planet, PlayStation 5 Pro, and not making enough PS1 anniversary consoles. PlayStation have a habit of getting in their own way. 2025 has started with them cancelling nearly all their live service games, taking a lot of talented people's time and efforts and flushing them down the toilet. 2024 saw the Pro console release, a £700 console that runs some games worse than the base model. Their magic PSSR technology proved to be a damp fart in the grand scale of things. The PS1 themed special edition seemed to excite people, but only offered up to 12,300 models to sell. Cock teasers. No disc drive either. Bumped the price up another £100. They closed studios weeks after Jim Ryan visited for a photo op, released Concord and killed it in a week, then closed down the studio. Their highlight was Helldivers 2, a classic four-player romp where you meet up with friends and murder everything in the name of Super Earth. Of course, they had to Sony it up and force people to sign into PSN months after release in a desperate bid to fluff their monthly active user count to appease shareholders. The mandatory login prevented players from over 100 countries from playing the game, when they could previously. Cunts.
Now, this isn't fair. In recent times, they have decided to get rid of this login. I think for their single-player games, their multiplayer ones will probably still need it on PC too. But yeah, it's such a good thing, and they fucking destroyed it.
Yeah, so again, missed out on this because I'm not a PlayStation player.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as I can tell, it's basically Starship Troopers, the game that wasn't officially...
Very much so.
And now I wanted to play it, but I'm not willing to pay £500 to £700 for a brick for the privilege to do so.
No, I think I have the PS5, but you need PSN to play it. The lowest tier of that is £60 for the year, and I got vouchers to do so, and I was like, oh well, I'll wait until their monthly games are good enough, something I'll actually play, because you get 3 games a month. And I was like, it was Suicide Squad last month, and then I can't recall what the February games are, but they didn't incite much. Yeah, fucking terrible system.
Yeah, fuck PS.
Right, so I may lean on you a bit. Oh yeah, Sony are cons. Go Xbox. Next one, I am going to have to lean on you a bit because my knowledge is nil. Vince McMahon.
Yes.
He's a Trump-like figure with more stamina. Turbo cunt. Crying about being the victim of a witch hunt. You can't spell witch hunt without cunt.
That is true.
How did this cunt get away with so much for so long? So in my notes, I have the ongoing sex trafficking scandal of Vince McMahon is still ongoing, and although I haven't followed it closely, some of the updates are horrendous. But thanks to the Speak Out Act from Biden's time as president, victims are now able to break NDAs surrounding acts of sexual assault and harassment, which has seen a flood of cases rear their head after people thought they had buried their misdeeds with enough money. Scat-focused orgies, rape, sharing of indecent media and human trafficking. Cunt. Dabbled in it all.
Yeah. I mean, I know you've got a few listeners to this podcast that are in fans of the wrestling world, so they'll probably be all over this anyway. But Vince McMahon is, he's your Carney's Carney. He is a real piece of shit. He has always been a real piece of shit. Again, much in that Trump vein, forever trying to get daddy's love.
I was always aware of him being a cunt, but played up a cunt for shows. Yeah,
I think what you're starting to realise is the character was actually the man.
Mm.
Because let's be honest, the best characters, there's a very thin line between...
People can only act themselves.
Yeah, exactly, right? So it's kind of like finding out that, Stone Cold, he's like a real drunk Texan dude. I bet he beats up the boss and slaps people around, doesn't take any shit. I'm like, he also beats up women. Like, that's what he does. And, Vince has got a history of basically covering for the fucking worst stuff ever. Like, I won't go into too much, but like Google the Jimmy Snooker incident, the fact that he essentially pimped out his own daughter to talent. He's a fucking terrible human being. This particular case was a personal assistant of his that he essentially groomed and pimped out to talent to get favors and work out deals. There is a particularly large star.
This feels like another one of those ones. I'm sure there are the mini documentaries on it.
You get some from that, but that's a little bit of a fluff piece. Dark Side of the Ring is also good for, like, you kind of have to get it from a few different sources because no one really wanted to go for it.
I was going to say your independents, like Patreon, YouTube, the people looking into it, I'd say go into a bit more detail than what you'd find in Netflix.
Yeah. Beyond the Bastards has like a multi-part podcast about him if you want to know more. I mean, the Netflix doc is kind of a fluff piece because that was coming out just before they were selling to Netflix, so they're not going to go too deep.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Vince McMahon is a colossal piece of shit, and I will personally have a few whiskeys the day he dies, and the world will be better for him not being in it anymore.
We're going to have a few whiskeys anyway. It's just good timing.
Yeah, any excuse.
Would you like the next? Oh yes, Cunt.
With 11 nominations, games industry firing a record-breaking amount of people for the second year in a row. Estimated at 14.6 thousand jobs were lost in one of the biggest entertainment industries in the world last year. A devastating number of lives ruined in a publisher's endless seizure of further profits. With the introduction of AI fields such as customer support, quality assurance, music, art and coding are all being filled with the cheaper and least effective form of labour. I always fear the knock-on effect of creatives being scared off from attempting to break into gaming when they witness how insecure jobs are in the sector. Companies' desperate bid to pump out more Fortnite-like content that end up failing entirely. The devs pay the cost for out-of-touch and greedy publishers and shareholders. Gaming industry. Cunts.
Cunts. Yeah, I think it summed it up pretty well there in the notes. I do not know why anybody would try and make a living in this field unless they're going indie or doing their own thing.
Yeah.
Like the Balatro guy, that was one person, and I think they just recently topped 5 million sales.
I can hear a dog.
Yeah, it'd be even better if I fucking owned a dog.
Yeah, I know someone who is in the gaming industry, games production industry, and had a few conversations about basically that they've managed to secure funding to, I can't say much, but they're making a follow-up on kind of a quite a classic franchise that's coming out hopefully in 2026, I think.
Is it Monkey Puncher?
It isn't, no.
Oh, then I don't fucking care.
It's more of a space zoom type game.
Ooh.
But if you're my age, you'll know it. I can tell you off air. But he was basically saying, yeah, like there's no security at all in the industry, and you don't know, like they could just cancel the game like 3 years into development and it's done, and that's it.
Fucking scary.
Yeah. That's what.
And again, we were saying earlier about the constant sequels, playing it safe. It's does not make for good entertainment.
No, it's almost like late stage capitalism is a pox in all our houses. Not that I'm a lefty or anything.
Kind of see it happen to movies. We've seen it happen to music. It's going to end up the same way with games.
Yeah, of course. And now you can get AI to write 1,000 books for you rather than just one good one.
Yeah.
Although if we could use AI to finish the King Killer series, I'd probably be down with it.
The Doors of Stone. Fuck, that has been a shocking amount of time. Like, fuck Game of Thrones fan. You get in line.
I mean, to be fair, Game of Thrones still has everything beat because that cunt is never going to finish it.
I don't even think he pretends anymore. I say,
No,
oh
he
yeah,
doesn't
of course
care.
I'm working on it.
He's going to die of heart disease before the fucking 7th book ever comes out.
Parody podcast.
No, fuck that. I stand by it.
I was thinking for the next one.
Okay.
Trump shooter.
Ah, yes. Parody podcast.
Trump shooter. 4 missing with 11 votes. Fuck me, you can shoot 50 kids in one school without wasting a bullet and you miss that straw-headed pumpkin from a few hundred feet. This is what won Trump the election, you cockeyed cunt. How did the failed assassination get more votes than Trump himself?
I think, again, maybe timing, because I think maybe the Trump votes came in earlier in the year when he was sort of starting to run, whereas this was obviously quite a hot story towards the late end of the summer.
Trump running for the election was a joke once again when he announced it.
Yeah.
It was a repetition of the original running, I felt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the media made the exact same mistakes as they did the first time round, in my opinion.
Yeah, what a formula.
And continued to do so, by the way.
I love being jaded.
What I would say is for someone that got shot in the ear, his ear has made a remarkable recovery. It's almost like he wasn't hit by a bullet at all, and perhaps just a piece of flying glass. Or maybe when the Secret Service jumped on him, someone just ripped his ear a little bit.
Maybe they took the shooter's ear and replaced his. He is the president.
Yeah. But look, I don't know if it's a good thing, because if what I hope to happens, we end up with J.D. Vance as president. But the best we can hope for is that he's 79 years old and eats McDonald's 3 times a day. That's it. I'll leave it there.
Just playing the waiting game.
Yeah, like either diabetes or time is going to catch up one way or the other.
He seems like the kind of guy that only gets a pump for his birthday, so maybe that'll be the end of him.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Should we start a GoFundMe for Melania?
Take one for the team, dear. We'd all appreciate it.
No, I haven't done that since 1999. Or however old that fucking freak baron is, I don't know.
Haven't needed the money since. Well, would you like the next one?
This has worked out fortuitously. So, bear in mind all of the previous nominations, and that Trump Shooter, which to this point is the highest, had 11 nominations. With 19 nominations for Cunt of the Year, King Cunt, Deadbeat Punk.
Woo.
Make a podcast or don't, cunt. Monday morning poo has been ruined thanks to this lazy cunt's inability to upload on a regular basis. Cunt. Fuck that cunt. Cunt. He's the reason Filthy stopped podcasting. Shows up to an Xbox podcast for 4 hours but can't squeeze out 30 minutes of sweary glory now and again. Cock and a cunt. A cock-cunt. What the fuck do I want? DBP to get his finger out of his arse and record more episodes. Cunt. He inherited Terry Wogan's voice after he passed away and refuses to host the Eurovision Song Contest. Didn't invite me to his wedding. Cunt. I'm more upset than I care to admit at losing the cunt crown this year. My patchy upload schedule and lack of outspoken contrarian remarks has seen my character grow stale. I must do something to remedy this in 2025.
Yeah, not impressed. That's fallen down the ladder quite a bit. I am half the man I used to be.
Did you say that? Did you get as many nominations, though?
More nominations is good.
Yeah.
You just think there were bigger cunts this year?
I think there was a more of an attention grab. Not necessarily bigger cunts, just louder ones.
I'm worse than Russia and Israel combined. But yeah, the votes are in. Deadbeat Punk. What a cunt. Cunts. So, I got this one. It had a lot of votes, and again, people didn't seem to want to go into detail, which required me to Google, and what a horrible time that was. P. Diddy, cunt, with 22 votes. Commenters posted P. Diddler, baby oil cunt, the worst type of cunt, buggered Bieber cunt. BBC, I like that one.
That was the one that got me chuckling.
So, as stated, we got this one without many reasons, although quite a lot of votes. For anyone that missed the stories, as it seemed to get worse and worse as the year went on, P. Diddy, or Sean Combs, was accused of kidnapping, drugging, and coercing women into sexual activities, sometimes through the use of firearms and threats of violence. These all came to light after a case was filed against him in New York. There were a lot of stories that broke after this, and although not proved 100% legally yet, of course, parody podcast, they all seemed to paint a similar picture. A former security guard spoke of a party in which all alcohol was spiked, and luckily, as a teetotaler, he evaded the effects. He reports Combs sexually assaulted his guests in their drug state, and he was paid handsomely to hand over his phone with some footage, which is a very cunty move on his part as well, I felt. A string of accusations were filed throughout the year with similar details and tactics, although this will all be through the legal system. We here at What the Fuck Do You Want Studios have no issue with calling a cunt when the votes have been counted. Cunt.
Yeah, cunt. Nothing to add.
Yeah, I think this is one that we'll probably get back into as the year goes on. As say, a lot of allegations, a lot of stories, but yeah. I mean, I'm happy to call him a cunt, but without solid details, it's hard to get into exactly why.
Yeah, what I've started
Stop
to
fucking
learn
raping people.
If someone needs to change their name 4 times during their career, there's probably something going on.
It'll be Cher next year.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And with that...
Yeah. And this year's second inaugural even, Cunt of the Year, with 32 nominations. Elon Musk.
Who would have thought it?
I know, right? So gesturing broadly, where do you start? Inflaming racists on Twitter, getting into an argument with the UK government because they dared to criticise him, sucking Trump's dick, guesting on InfoWars, allowing Toby Robinson back on Twitter, baiting the fuckwits into bullying the Algerian gold medalist boxer. His cuntishness is persistent and prolific. Twitter was a wonderful if flawed platform. One of the key joys for me as a user was getting updates from different cities around the world, which stopped being prevalent as his dickhead management of the site means it has been banned in countries like Brazil, Venezuela and Pakistan. Stick to making terrible Cybertrucks and even worse memes. How divorced can one man possibly get? His creepy post to Taylor Swift about giving her a baby and protecting her cats made me want to tie a string around my uterus, tie the other end to a door handle, and yank it out like a wobbly tooth. Fuck me, if installing a Neuralink makes you behave like Elon, I'll save my money for something more worthwhile, like a dildo made out of broken glass and salt crystals. Cunt. Does this cunt spend all day making terrible memes while touching himself to pictures of Donald Trump? Don't forget, he spurned on protesters during the UK riots with reckless abandon despite his lack of regional understanding of the issues. A person with that size of platform has no idea how much danger they put others in. He then blasted the government after they failed to invite him to a summit shortly after. If the DUP had a gangbang, the result would look like Elon Musk. Not even the porn bots are hanging around Twitter anymore. Weak-chinned, scaffolding-bodied shitlord who bought Twitter and somehow made it worse. Endorsed a known sex pest for president, did fucking star jumps like a cunt, and is still trying to make Doge funny.
Just gonna point at one. Did we get the Christ, where do you begin one?
Don't think we did. Do you want to throw that one in?
Yes. Christ, where do you begin? Look at that cunt. Bought an election. Wants to buy the next UK election, setting up a fake government department with a meme name to speedrun privatising the US. Absolute cunt. And that wasn't a dig. There were a lot of entries for this one.
Yeah, there's a wall of text. This is about 4 pages long on its own. So fucking
yes.
long one.
Yep.
What fucking embarrassment of a human being. This cunt has enough money to legitimately make a change in the world. Instead, he spends it on more and more increasingly cringe ways of making himself look cool to the edgelord Christian fundamentalist flat earth teenage incel rape brigade he commands by posting memes and saying, interesting, to things that are blatantly bollocks, but he's either too thick or evil to care about looking into. Would stand to reason a man who needed to be a billionaire to get his dick wet pulls in that kind of pathetic loser fan base. And he thanked them all by spending 44 of those billions simply so they could freely say the N-word and threaten women with sexual assault on the internet. He's the worst kind of cunt, as he'll never go away. Even losing 30 billion on Twitter meant nothing to him. He could legitimately hunt humans for sport on a private island nation if he wanted to, and never be held accountable. The weak-chinned wannabe warrior will have to have them brought in front of him and use a really big gun though, as he's physically incapable of anything that's even remotely energetic. This cunt needs to use AI in all of his photos to even look vaguely human in appearance, let alone healthy enough to engage in anything sports-like. This feeble dodecahedron-shaped meat sack probably sweats and cheats, while playing Connect 4. Scrooge McDuck levels of wealth and never-ending adoration from a bunch of socially inadequate man-babies will never make women want to touch him sexually without some monetary compensation, or his kids like him though. Utter cunt. Step up from the 14 votes from last year. The man's cuntiness is like a fine wine. It's in a bottle he squats over. There isn't a week that goes by where he isn't making a bollocks of himself in some form. He has ruined Twitter. It's still running, but ad revenue and user interactivity is well down. I have tried TikTok, Threads, Blue Sky, Hive and others, but fuck me, does nothing stick. I blame him for that, the cunt. His anti-trans rhetoric continues. His fellatio of Trump embarrassed every human that is unlucky enough to view it, and yes, like Lawrence Fox before him, is the personification of divorced. I closed the poll at the start of January.
That was just a note to me. I did close the poll at the start of January. The year was over. I think it's fair to assume that everybody listening was expecting this.
I'd say so. I don't think it's fair to assume that I would have got through that all in one go, though.
It was very impressive. Thank you, CaptainJSpaulding. You are a trooper. And not a bit of giggling. I was very impressed.
Yeah, I kind of had to just shut off a little bit and went into autopilot mode.
I had to mute the microphone when we got to the feeble dodecahedron.
Yeah, dodecahedron almost creeped up on me as well because I wasn't reading the head and I was like, oh fuck, how do I pronounce that again?
Even fucking reading it in past. Dodecahedron. Dodecahedron. It's not one that comes up very frequently in conversation.
No, but if you say it in a Scottish accent, it sounds like an insult. What are you doing, you fucking dodecahedron?
Should be more threatening than mine, but I can't get it right. Dodecahedron.
Well, yeah, I think we can all agree. Cunt.
Yes, as the votes have it in, we have it. Elon Musk at 32 votes. You are. What the fuck do you want? Cunt of the Year. And may you continue to be Cunt of the Year every year until you're in the ground. Or whatever you plan to do. Shot into a cannon into space. I would enjoy that.
It would be quite fun.
You can't miss.
No.
So that has been painful, Listy. We have covered so much, so many cunts. One little world. Captain J. Spaulding, I have to thank you for your service. That was quite a performance. Well done.
It's fucking epic.
And shall I see you back here for Cunt of the Year 2025?
It would be my honour and privilege, yes.
Oh, fuck. I was going to ask Kygo's Moo to print out a penis-shaped trophy, so we might send it to the winner. But he might be talking to us after this comes out.
It's always possible.
So yeah, thanks everybody for listening. We hope you did enjoy. If not, tell us why you didn't, and then go fuck yourself. Jamie, I love you.
Thank you very much.
You are my Cunt of the Year in the best type of way. Get fucked!
Fuck you, you're a fucking wanker. We're gonna punch you right in the balls. Fuck you, with a fucking anchor. You're all cunts, so fuck you all. Fuck you, you're a fucking wanker. We're gonna punch you right in the balls. Fuck you, with a fucking anchor. You're all cunts, so fuck you all. Wait!
Like a rapey caper.